Welcome to the Niche Industry Influencer Summit. It is such a joy to have everybody who's watching on our event app, watching through Zoom, and watching us live on YouTube. We are live all around the world, and it is such a joy to have everybody here. Now, before we get started, I'm going to read an acknowledgement of country. Before we commence, I'd like to acknowledge that we are meeting on traditional country and pay respects to all elders past, present, and emerging. For they hold the memories, the traditions, the culture, and hopes of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples across the nation. I extend my respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander guests who are watching today. I am honoured to acknowledge that this summit is being held on Aboriginal land and recognise the strength, resilience, and capacity of our First Nations people. So, welcome to the Niche Industry Influencer Summit. This summit has been specifically curated for individuals who are curious and hungry for better information on today's most prevalent topics. Our summits bring together the latest niche industry influencers around business, health and wellness, and lifestyle. Today's niche industry influencers will be sharing their insights into how you too can live a life that is more fulfilling. Whether you are looking to improve yourself, grow your business, or give back with more impact, the Niche Industry Influencer Summit will provide you the answers you have been seeking and fill your mind with new ideas on how to live a greater life. Today is your chance to get this front row seat for the inaugural Niche Industry Influencer Summit, hosted by the Eventologist herself, that's me, Anna Osherov, where Australia's top niche industry influencers will be sharing their insights into today's hottest topics. So we have a jam-packed agenda. We have 9 experts who will be keeping you up to date with the latest and greatest tips and ideas in their industries. We'll be covering mindset, business, finance, lifestyle, communication, and creativity. So I hope you guys are ready. Now, to get us started, we're going to have a very quick look at the platform that you are looking through. So if you are joining us on Eventi, just a very, very quick intro into how to get inside the Eventi platform. So we need to start off inside the obviously Niche Industry Influencer website, which you guys have a link to directly from your email. So hopefully you guys have had a chance to register. And once you are in there, it is quite easy to navigate. So we're going to join the event, which you guys should be inside of already. But for those that aren't and might have joined us on Zoom or are looking through YouTube, inside of the event, what you will see is you will come straight into here. Now we have an agenda. Inside of that agenda, you'll be able to click on what's happening right now. So as you can see, you'll be able to see what is happening right now. So please make sure that you're either tuned in on Zoom or you're tuned in on our Eventi app. And if you are in YouTube, welcome. So a few logistics. We're going to be starting very shortly with our very first speaker, and that is Margie. However, the way that today is going to run, each of our speakers will have 20 minutes to share their insights with you. Now, once they have shared their insights, you will have the opportunity to connect. And the way that we connect is through the connection form. Now, if you're in Zoom, you'll see the link in the chat shortly. If you are joining us on Eventi, we've actually added it directly to our Eventi app for you to be able to access. So if you are inside of Eventi, you can have a look at this section here, which is the news feed, and there is a link to our connection form inside of the news feed. So that is what's going to be happening. Now, what's also going to be happening is as we are going through, I'm going to be reminding you to connect with our speakers inside of that form. And that is going to be your best way to be able to access the conversation with our speakers. Now, we are going to have a few breaks throughout today. We're going to have 3 speakers, then a break. It's going to be a short 10-minute break. Then we're going to have another 3 speakers and a break. And then we have 3 speakers and we're done. We're going to be finishing at 2 p.m. So that is all of our logistics. So now it's time for me to introduce to you Margie. Now, just to get us moving, and in case you have any questions for our speakers will be checking in on their questions at the end of their talk. So please pop your questions in the chat, either in the chat on Zoom or again in the Q&A section for our speakers. So as you are watching what's live currently, you'll have a Q&A section right here. So you'll be able to ask a question. Anna, how do I ask a question? Our team will be looking out for these questions and we will make sure that they're answered at the end of the talk that the speaker has presented. Now, if for some reason our speakers are sharing so much knowledge and information that they run out of time to answer your questions, please make sure that you connect with them in the connection form. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you our very first speaker. Our first speaker is Margie McCumsty. Margie is an acclaimed speaker, author, and entrepreneur with a mission to empower people to live courageous, inspired lives and for business acknowledgement and to harness the gifts of their teams. Her words serve to catalyze positive transformation, personal growth, as well as human and business development. Margie is the founder and business owner of both, yes, both, Metamorphosis Ceremonies and Love Legacy. And her first book, Be Loved, Remembering, Discovering and Creating Who You Are as a Journey Through Life. Now, this book was not only an Amazon bestseller, but continues to help raise funds for a number of charities. Margie brings her passion and exuberance to the stage wherever she speaks, sharing with vulnerability and power. Margie has appeared on The Today Show, Cosmopolitan Magazine, Courier Mail, Radio 4BC, and has spoken for audiences including the Communities and Business Women's Network, BX, Her Story Global Women's Empowerment Summit, QE2 Hospital, FMD Financial, and Uncraved Woman. She is a previous winner of the Australian Small Business Champion Awards. Margie shares her wealth of experience in business and in life. From personal training to funeral celebrant with a dash of burlesque, dancing thrown in, Margie is a vibrant, creative and formidable woman with a story that will make you laugh and cry. Margie will impact your life with her words, her empathy and her resilience. Margie lives in the Hunter Valley with her fiance Dean, stepson Braden and a temptatious cat named Luna. Please help me welcome to the stage Margie McCumsty. Woo! Yeah, Margie.
Thank you so much. All right, so today I'm just going to share a screen. There we are. Today I'm going to be doing an exploration of grief, love and life. And there's this beautiful quote, all the art of living lies in a fine mingling of letting go and holding on. And Brené Brown said that vulnerability is the willingness to show up with no guarantee of an outcome. But I'm going to disagree with Brené today. Let me just bring this up. Okay, so I'm going to disagree with Brené today because I'm going to guarantee an outcome. I'm going to guarantee that if you join me here with a vulnerability, and I'll bring that vulnerability in my speaking, if you bring your vulnerability in your listening, then we're going to really create something amazing today. So if you'll join me with an open heart and an open mind, I'll guarantee that this talk will be life-changing with new possibilities to step into, like starting a new year with a fresh start. Now, I don't know if you're like me. I'm just going to share another screen. The wonders of Zoom. Okay, oops, I'll just go back one. I can work that out. Nope, I can't. All right. So if you're like me, New Year's Eve is a time where you will celebrate and remember the year that's been, and it's filled with hope and possibilities for the coming year. Some years I write resolutions and some years I don't. I'm grateful for what has been and determined for what is to come. I always celebrate, sometimes alone and sometimes with friends. I take time to reflect and cherish my life. But New Year's Eve in 2019 was very different. In June 2019, I was by my dad's side, holding his hand as he took his last breaths. In October 2019, I sat with my father-in-law as he died only months after my own dad. And so at midnight, I farewelled a hard and emotional year with relief, but also some sadness, knowing that this new year was one without these two strong and loving father figures in my life. I knew as I stepped into 2020 that life was different and grief was ever present. In and around grief lived resilience, peace, and joy. I felt my dad with me, and I knew I had to continue on. Now, New Year's Eve is also often the time for crazy aspirational dreams, and one of those came to the surface: to write a book and dedicate it to my dad. I often cried as I wrote and remembered and recounted stories I've long forgotten. But I told the story about my dad dying. I shared about my life, my loves, my losses, my triumphs, and my failures. I shared with authenticity and a raw honesty that was powerful and real. And as I wrote, I realized that I've been living a full life, a life I'm very grateful for. As I wrote about my dad, I knew he wasn't perfect, but in seeing his humanity, I felt compassion, and I offered the same compassion to myself as well. When I wrote my book, which is part memoir, part self-help book, part journal prompts, I knew I wanted to share about and honor my dad. He had a life filled with courage and resilience. Now, I wanted to share honestly about my dad, and I didn't want to make out that he wasn't flawed. Courage, determination, and resilience aren't just for saints and superheroes. So I told the truth. My dad had an incredible work ethic and saved money towards his goal of buying a farm. But Dad's way was very restrictive and has definitely impacted my relationship with money ever since. But I can also recognize Dad's strength and determination and admire that. I can admire his commitment to his dream and the discipline it took for him to get there. He was intelligent, charismatic, dynamic, and immensely likable. To me, immensely lovable. He was an animated storyteller. But I knew Dad had problems with how I lived my life. And whilst I wanted Dad to be proud of me, I couldn't live my life worrying about what he would think and if he would be disappointed or not. I had to love Dad just as he was, sometimes gruff, occasionally dismissive, and frustratingly sexist and racist, but ultimately my dad. So just over 2 years ago, my brother and I went to Dubbo to visit my dad. My dad was 94, and while I had no doubts at the time that he would make it to 100, we often drove out to visit. We tried to phone when we got close, but he didn't answer. It wasn't like him. We tried again, still no answer. We arrived at his house and rang the doorbell, and he didn't come to the door. We really started getting very worried at this point. We knew that sometimes Dad kept the door unlocked for any, for the ambulance or emergency services to be able to come in. So we tried the door and it was unlocked. So I opened and called out in a somewhat shaky voice, "Dad?" I heard Dad call out from his bathroom, and I realized he'd been stuck in the bathroom all night, unable to walk. We spent many hours with Dad in the hospital after that, and they did tests and tried physio. Dad kept looking to the future and getting us to help him investigate ways to renovate his bathroom to allow for greater mobility and things like that. You know, there were so many medical problems, kidneys, heart, and they found a slow growing cancer that had been there probably for decades. Charlie and I realized that our dad was dying. We were heartbroken and still visiting him every day. Now, I'd done a course a few months earlier to be a death doula, and the instructor had said that hope can be cruel. I didn't understand at the time. In fact, I argued with her that hope was always important. But when I realized, and then Dad knew he was dying, the cruelest thing anybody could give was hope. It might sound strange, but hope takes away your chance to grapple with reality instead of holding on to a hoped-for fantasy. So there was nothing left unsaid. I made Dad talk about love and life. I talked to Dad about how he wanted to be remembered, and I interviewed him about his life. I even prepared his funeral ceremony script. Dad was willing to have me perform his funeral, and I was incredibly honored, but I was unsure how I'd be able to. I chose songs for Dad's service, and I played them for him. As I read the ceremony to Dad in his hospital bed, he listened intently, absorbing each and every word. When I was finished reading, silent tears streaming down my face, Dad shook my hand and thanked me and told me it was excellent. The love and pride I had been seeking throughout my adult life were in that handshake. He didn't talk a lot more after that, and 24 hours later, he died with my brother Charlie holding one hand and with me holding the other. A week later, I conducted Dad's funeral, complete with bagpipe entry and personalized elements and a lifetime of photos and stories. It was the hardest and most special ceremony I have ever performed. And that night, after the funeral, when I slept, I saw Dad in my dreams. I saw his hand holding a pen, and he wrote, "Spot on," and he underlined it with his signature lightning bolt. Now I'll show you a photo of my dad, which you've had a little sneak preview of before. So this was me with my dad a couple of years before he died. Can really see the love and the charisma of my dad as well. Just some random day in Dubbo. You know, I always felt like I was the one my dad least understood, but in a lot of ways was most like. And my relationship with Dad continued after he died. He just changed form. I feel like he gets me now. And when I cry as I remember and grieve, I don't feel him chastising me for showing emotion like he would have if he was alive. I just feel him loving me. All that was left was freedom and love. In those final days, less than a month from when Dad first went to hospital, we gave Dad a gift: acceptance, love, and appreciation. We thanked him for being our dad and acknowledged him for his life. I like to think I helped bring him to a peaceful place where he knew he would be remembered. He knew how we would remember him, and he knew that he was and always would be loved. As a girl, I knew myself as a daughter, a sister, and a member of a family, and I was proud of my family and being a Macumsty. I appreciated being quirky and knew I was creative and imaginative, resourceful and kind. And with Dad's passing, he gave me a gift too. Over 2 years now from my dad's death, I realise and know more than ever that I am all those things plus more: forgiving and caring, deeply connected and free. There is magic and power in words. Which brings me back to my book. I wrote every morning. I wrote and wrote stories from childhood, stories from work, stories from my love life, just stories from my life. I laughed and cried and tried to be vulnerable because I imagined the person snuggled up in bed reading my book deserved that. So I got a sense in many ways that my book could be a legacy after I was gone. There are important family stories I could share to preserve for the future generations. And it took writing my book for me to know, to truly know just how special and valuable I am. And you are too. We all have our unique paths and our unique contributions. And I hope that my stories, lessons and learnings can continue to empower the lives of people all over the globe as people hear me speak, share, or read my book. So this is my book. It's called Beloved: Remembering, Discovering, and Creating Who You Are as You Journey Through Life. And this was the dedication I penned for my dad. To Arthur Charles Macumsty, my dad, you faced it all and you stood tall and did it your way. Thanks for the love and inspiration. This book is about my way. And you'll notice the signature lightning bolt. I hope I've done him proud. Have you too felt the weight and grief, the weight of grief, and wondered how you could live a purposeful, joyful life again? I've been there, crying each day, unable to get out of bed, missing my dad, and completely lost. I found a way back. They say time is a healer, but you don't have to wait for time to pass. The time is now. My book, Beloved, Remembering, Discovering, and Creating Who You Are as You Journey Through Life, will not only inspire you, but give you opportunities to explore your value and create your purpose. One of my readers reached out to me recently. Sarah read my book and was able to face the grief of the loss of both her parents and a divorce from a husband who had been cheating on her for many years with her best friend. She worked through the exercises and is now newly dating again and loving life. She bought extra copies for friends as she wanted them to be able to transform their lives and find joy as well. My mission is to empower readers of Beloved to remember, discover, and create who they are for themselves and our world. And I would love for you to be part of that. So I would love for you to buy a copy of my book or buy more. It makes a great Christmas present. And I'll sign them and send them off to you straight away. Yes, you can buy it on Amazon, but I'd like to personally sign it for you and send it to you so that it can impact your life as well. Oops. Stop share. There we are.
Thank you,
So,
Margie.
I'm not quite finished.
You're not quite finished. Keep going.
No, I'm not quite finished, Anna. I'm so sorry. So I just want you to know that, like, I'll send it to you with all my vulnerability and love. So I started today by telling you that I was willing to be vulnerable and asked you to do the same. So let me leave you now with one final message. You can let go and know that in doing so, you can still hold on to your love and memories. You are free to rise up and live. We rise when we can remember who we were as young children, unfettered and free, filled with awe and wonder and joy of life. We rise when we remember who we are at our core. We rise when we discover who we've become as we find resilience, strength, compassion and empathy as we journey through life. We rise when we can consider that instead of being a victim to our circumstances, we are a beneficiary, as being gifted with our pasts, regardless how turbulent, for who we have become is the gift. We rise when we create who we are in this world and for this world. We rise when we see that we are powerful co-contributors with the universe. We choose our contribution and we choose who we get to be from this point on. Just like starting a new year, except this is a new life. There is no need to fear the gloriousness of who you are anymore. Mary Ann Williamson wrote in her book, Return to Love, this beautiful quote that I'd like to share with you now. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in all of us. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. It's time now to rise up, let go, and be free. Namaste.
Woo! Yay! Thank you, Margie. What a beautiful, beautiful message. It's time now. I trust that that really inspirational talk has given you something to step into as you look into the future. The world has changed and is continuously changing. So let's keep our fingers crossed that we can continue to evolve and to grow and really let go, rise up and step into our future. Thank you so much, Margie. Next, we have another fabulous speaker. It is a bit of a shift in topic, but yet another really, really powerful conversation. So thank you, Margie. If you do wish to connect with Margie or purchase a copy or a few of her book, please head to the connection form. I'll just ask the team to pop the link back into our chat on Zoom, or head to the news feed in the Eventi app and click on the connection form and then tick the box for Margie. And if you'd like her book, please let us know how many copies so she can send them out to you. So our next speaker is Sarah Hudson. Sarah is a finance broker and a money coach. She has 6 years experience helping people achieve their financial goals. Now, who doesn't want some help achieving their financial goals? I know that I'm always open to that. As a single parent with 4 children, Sarah knows what it's like to navigate the challenges and pitfalls in a life of your own. She has established the Bounce Back and Realize Your Potential in 2022. In this space, Sarah helps women gain confidence in managing their money and formulating a plan for a life of financial freedom through her online courses, workshops, and one-on-one mentoring, which you have an opportunity to book into today. A communicator, problem solver, and a passionate advocate for women, Sarah is happiest when she is supporting and encouraging women to grow and achieve their goals. Sarah is a leader in the finance industry, having received awards in her field in 2020 for advocacy and performance, and is a well-regarded and being a positive person, uplifting, community-minded, and getting her job done. That is what she's known for, being positive, uplifting, community-minded, and getting the job done, which we would all want in somebody who's coaching us, especially through finances. So please help me welcome to the stage, Sarah Hudson. Woo! Sarah.
Sorry, I just realized I'm still on mute. That was fantastic, Margie. I really enjoyed hearing you talk about grief, and I'll definitely be buying at least one copy of your book. So thank you for having me today. I'm talking about money, and money is generally a really, really dull topic, but I hope that I inspire you to take a little bit more interest in how you can gain confidence, clarity, and control of your finances. So are you drowning in debt, in fear of finance, or anxious about money? Then the next 20 minutes will help change your life. Today, I'm talking about how to gain confidence, clarity, and control of your finances, as well as overcoming the pitfalls and challenges of being single and fearing money, how to access programs and services that are available to you, and the simple formula for managing your money with confidence. Oops. So who am I? Anna gave you a brief snapshot of who I am, but I've got 2 dogs, 3 cats, 2 guinea pigs, 2 fish, 4 children, and 3 ex-husbands. Yes, that's right, 3 ex-husbands. Call me crazy. But I am a great believer in love and marriage, and I still believe that there's the right person out there for me. But along my journey of my 3 ex-husbands over, I guess that's about 25 years, I've learned an incredible amount about myself, an incredible amount about how to manage money. As a mortgage broker and money coach, I'm extremely passionate about helping people buy their first, second, or forever home, and teaching women to be confident in managing their money so that they can be financially free in retirement. Quite recently, I've been talking to single mums via a Facebook group that I'm really passionate about, and I'm finding that it's increasingly more and more difficult for young single mums or older single mums to get into the property market. A lot of times that they're worried about how to budget, how to manage their money, and how to actually be able to save, given that the rental prices are so high. So I know firsthand what it means when you don't control your own finances. I've been in relationships where I wasn't the person in control. And I grew up in a family that was very traditional, where my dad was the one who managed finances. And I remember when I was about 14, my dad went overseas to travel, as he did. He was an engineer and he worked all over the world. And he was gone for 6 months. And during that time, my mum didn't have access to a bank account. He just left her a couple of signed checks to pay the bills and a wad of cash for her housekeeping. And I remember at one point in time, Mum getting a red letter for the gas bill, and she didn't even know what to do about it. So I was determined not to ever be put in that situation again myself. And teaching women, particularly women who have been recently separated or divorced, is my pet project. It is my passion because, as I said, I know firsthand what it's like. So I just want to share a few statistics with you about women in the community. So did you know that women earn on average 14.6% less than men? There's many reasons for that, partly because 81% of single parent families are women and 2/3 of primary carers are women. So women often take time out from their careers or their occupations or their studies to be parents and to care for other members of their family. Single women over 60 are the lowest income earners in Australia, earning an average of $30,000 per year. Women also have an average of 52.8% less super at retirement than men. And an alarming statistic is that homelessness in Australia has increased 13.7% in the last 5 years, with 42% of those female, and a 28% increase of homelessness is women aged 55 plus. How alarming is that? So one of the things that I'm particularly passionate about is finding a way to provide more affordable housing in Australia. So I'm not going to talk about that today. I don't have time, but it is something that we all need to be thinking about. How are we going to change these statistics? So what are you afraid of? And what are women afraid of? Loss and separation and divorce are among the toughest decisions that you'll ever have to make. And coming from that are things like a fear of living alone, a fear of not being capable, whether that be not being capable of earning enough money or not being capable of running a household on your own, a fear of economic uncertainty, a fear of having those responsibilities alone, and a fear of making the same mistakes again. Women are also afraid of entering the business world, going to a bank, going to an accountant, going to a financial advisor, buying a home, negotiating and understanding that financial world for fear of being intimidated. So when I was most recently single after my 3rd divorce, need I say, I actually lost my business. I was running a cleaning business. I've been in business for 25 years, and it's evolved from being a virtual assistant through to running a commercial cleaning business to now being a mortgage broker. When I was running my commercial cleaning business, I was mainly working for the local council, cleaning their halls and senior citizen centres. And it got put out to tender as part of their major infrastructure and maintenance program. And naively, I thought I had a chance. At that point, I was cleaning 16 of their halls. and their whole portfolio was 176 properties. Needless to say, I didn't receive the contract. It went to a major, a national cleaning company. So what did I do? Once I finished crying in the corner, hiding from my children and feeling sorry for myself, I picked myself up off the floor and thought about what I was going to do next. My mum, interestingly enough, said to me, "Oh, great, now you can go and get a real job." And I thought, what does she think I've been doing all this time? I was a stay-at-home mum running a successful business and being there for my children whenever they needed me. But she thought it was a good idea to go and get a real job. What I did was I took the brave step of mortgaging my house and buying not one, but 2 cleaning businesses, because I was no longer going to have all my eggs in one basket. And those cleaning businesses were very, very successful, so successful that I quadrupled the turnover of each of them. And last year I sold them and moved full-time into mortgage broking. So what I'm saying about that is you need sometimes to overcome your fear, overcome the uncertainty of life and take a chance on yourself. So for some women, practical matters and economic planning were taken care of by their partner. This picture that you see here with the table covered with papers was actually one of my clients' tables. She rang me in desperation one day. She had lost her husband that she had been with since she was a teenager. He had died in his 50s from melanoma. It was a very, very sad loss for her. The grief was enormous. She had had no interest and no idea about anything to do with money or paying bills. So through putting systems in place and working with her, we changed her situation from the top picture to the bottom picture. That is what I do. I teach women how to build systems and manage their financial situation so that they're eliminating financial overwhelm. I teach women how to access services like Centrelink, follow up on their child support, access financial counselling and family assistance, and look for those charities that provide supportive environments of helping you save and helping you plan for the future. So learning to manage money and budgeting and goal setting leads on to this, the importance of knowing your numbers. Learning to budget. If you don't like the word budget, call it conscious spending. Knowing where money comes from and where it goes and what your priorities are is the fundamental lessons that need to be taught in mastering your finances. Planning for financial freedom or independence, to learn the steps to buy a home or consolidate your debt, are so important in developing our self-esteem and developing our financial freedom. At my last workshop that I ran, I had a young 23-year-old girl come along, so she didn't fit my normal profile of my clients. And she said this after the course: "I thought you'd be interested to know that I have never been so rich. After your course, I tracked my spending for 3 months and realised I could actually save a lot more than I had been. I even approached my boss and asked him to pay me for Saturday work instead of giving me half a day off. I'm feeling so savvy and good about myself. Thank you so much for inviting me to do your course and inspiring this new me. I'm super happy we met." So where to from here? Bounce back and realise your potential. Offers free resources, budget templates, and free videos that take you through some of those important issues. I run a 3-hour introductory practical workshop, a 6-week online course called Don't Just Survive, Thrive, which is commencing in February 2020. and I also offer one-on-one mentoring. So if you are ready to bounce back and realize your potential and would like to have confidence, clarity, and control of your money, book in now for a 20-minute discovery call so we can work out where you are now and where you want to be. Maya Angelou says, "My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humour, and some style. So if not now, when? When are you going to do it for yourself? When are you going to make that decision to thrive in your life?" Finally, if you'd like to follow me on Instagram or Facebook, there's the links there is Bounce Back with Sarah. And I also have a video series of interviews with women called Let's Talk Money, which you can find on YouTube. Thank you very much. And I hope that you take that step and master your own finances.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Again, what an inspiring talk. I've mentioned this earlier. Who doesn't want to have support to be able to manage and master their finances? I know personally that finances are probably some of the hardest things for me to manage. It's not in my top skill sets. And so why not engage with somebody just like Sarah, or better still, Sarah, to support you to get on top of your finances and be able to live the life that you envision for yourself. So if you would like to connect with Sarah, Sarah has provided us an opportunity to do a one-on-one conversation with Sarah. So please do make sure that you click on the link, go to our connection form, head over to Sarah's name, and then book in that 20-minute chat. Again, thank you so much, Sarah. Let's give her a big woo! Yay! Now we get to move on to our third speaker. I can't believe we're on to our third speaker. Now it gives me great joy to present to you Alison Marie. Alison Marie is a certified soul modes mentor. Now, if you don't know what a soul modes mentor is, Alison will tell you. Now, Alison is using this groundbreaking framework, and she's guiding those led by their feminine core. Now, that includes women and members of the LGBTQIA+ community, to uncover the magic that lies within their soul by peeling back the layers that society has molded. You are not one ordinary woman. You are 4 extraordinary ones. Yes, 4. Let Alison Marie introduce you to these 4 extraordinary women and see how it helped those in her community to understand themselves on a deeper level that will allow them to live a life of contentment, self-confidence, and discover the power and magic that lies within. Whilst this is a powerful framework for day-to-day life, Alison also uses soul modes to transform businesses. It allows many businesses and business owners to manage time more efficiently, maximize productivity, and have powerful results by aligning the energy within the workplace with all staff, resulting in greater staff retention and a lift in company culture. Now, we know there is a high disengagement in our corporations. Alison can help you to get re-engaged. So please help me welcome to the stage Alison Marie. Woo! Hey, welcome, Alison.
Sorry, I've been working a little bit behind the scenes today, so I'm trying to make sure that I can give you the best that I have to offer. So thank you so much for that, Anna. I'm really grateful to be here and a little scared and nervous to go after some of the ladies that we've already had today, who have done fantastic on their topics. I'm here with a little bit of a different one today, and I'm going to be talking about how what I do works in your personal life as well as in your professional one. So for everyone here, if you can pop in the chat, which part of this do you think appeals to you more? Are you here trying to learn something about how to add value to your own life or something for your business? Because I'm just curious and nosy that way. Today I'm going to show you how you can become a brand equal to Google when it comes to how they value their staff and how that translates to their bottom line. Now, for those that don't know, Google has an incredible program for their workers where they have nap pods where during the workday, if you're exhausted, you can just go and have a little nap. They also have full food bars where if you're hungry, you just pop over and grab some food, all as a part of their company culture. And I'm yet to meet anyone that hears about all of this and says they don't want to go work for Google. I mean, my hand's raised. Hire me, please. So what I also teach and what I will be talking about today, like I said, also is a framework about helping those that I call feminine cord on a more personal level. Now, for the men in the room, I know you're thinking, oh God, this is just going to be about women. But what if I could translate the book of how to understand your wife and your teenage daughter that, I mean, let's face it, it's probably over 1 million pages, but I can translate that for you. And I can throw in how this will also help you to better communicate with female staff if you have them. I'll also wrap it all up into something that's really easy to understand. And I'll explain it for those who are business minded in a company structure terms, because there's a lot of business people here today, I'm sure. Now, for the feminine cord among us, I will be introducing you to, sorry, I forgot my slides, to the 4 women that you've lived with your whole life and probably never actually met. There are 4 of us, 4 different energy levels inside of us that work together to help keeping us move forward. Not only will I introduce you to those women, but I will also show you and teach you a little bit of how to hack it to make life that little bit easier and to end each day feeling fulfilled and energized rather than drained, because who needs that? So let me introduce myself a little bit. I am Alison Marie and I am the FemCore Mentor. I am a mum of 4, ranging from 21 to almost 5. She's 5 in 2 days. And I also have a boxer fur baby who believes she's a human. We haven't had the heart to tell her she's adopted yet. I'm also a grandma to a 2-year-old grandson, and I have another grandbaby due any day. It's extremely exciting. If I get the call within my presentation, I'm really sorry, but I've got to go watch it be born. Let's hope she can hold off a little bit. In 2020, I did become one of only 35 certified soul modes mentors in the world, which was an extremely proud moment for me. Because what I'm about to share with you today, you'll soon realize when I say that what I do saved one of my children's lives, I mean that in the most literal of senses. Now, you will hear me say women a lot throughout my talk today and throughout my teachings as a whole. But my framework actually resonates with those a part of the LGBTQIA+ community, as Anna said, and anyone that is led by more their feminine energy than their masculine. Now, having said that, before the men in the room tune out, remember I started to give you some cheat codes, to understanding your wife and daughters. Just hold off on, dreaming of being back on the golf course just yet. Please just bear with me. I promise it will be valuable. So let me start by telling you why I'm so incredibly passionate about soul modes and the tipping point that sparked a knowing in me that I had to share this with the world. Now, as you can see on my screen, these are some gorgeous little humans that I'm so proud to say I made. Well, except the little one, that's my grandson, but the others I made. And while I'm going to be talking about my children today, I am going to be talking about some quite emotional things. And my aim is not to trigger anyone today, but I do want you to understand and to be open and honest with you about why I started this journey. And these are it. What I'm going to talk about today literally saved one of my children's lives, and I will forever be grateful. So a little bit about how I came to be the FemCore mentor. You see, for 2 years, I woke up every single day wondering if today was the day I'd be called, whether by phone or in person, to go and identify my son's body, a fate I wish upon no parent ever. At the age of 14, my son came out to me as gay. My reaction to the text message that he sent me from his bedroom, which was all the way across the hallway, was, great, honey, now did you take the rubbish out like I told you to? And of course, he came in crying, and we cuddled and we both cried, and there was ugly tears. And for those parents among us wondering, yes, he had taken the rubbish out, which I was really pleased about. But as you can imagine, it was quite an emotional thing for him to get that off his chest. Fast forward a couple of years to 16, and he was groomed by an older man. There was a storm of some diagnosed and some undiagnosed mental health conditions that just became the perfect storm for this to have happened. He had been taught all of the rights and wrongs growing up in life about drugs and trusting people and how to kind of look after himself and his own energy. But this man had shiny objects that he could flash in front of his face and make it seem like an incredible opportunity to live without rules and without parents. And so I just realized my screen's all weird. And so it really did become a perfect storm for him to be introduced into the world of drugs. Of all of the drugs that he was introduced to, the most dangerous one was ice. For those that don't know what ice is one of the worst drugs on the street at the moment, and it is methamphetamine. Over the course of a couple of years and a few boyfriends later, one of his boyfriends began injecting him with ice, which still makes my heart sink when I think about it. But this was our reality. It took a little while, but to cut a long story short, there were many suicide attempts, many manic episodes, and other horrific events that I won't even begin to tell you about. But he did come home for a second time at 17 to get clean and try and get his life back on track. Now, while he was at home, he heard me doing my studies and as I was becoming a qualified mentor, and he kind of came in a little curiously and said, "What are you talking about?" So he sat down next to me and I explained and was telling him all about soul modes and asked him a few questions to see if he identified with the teachings that I was learning to be able to do. And we had been discussing that, again, as I said previously, it's not just for women, it's for anyone that identifies as more feminine. And of course, the gay community being a part of that. And as I explained some of these to him, he was almost in tears. He expressed that he finally felt he was understood at a level that he hadn't felt before, which was incredible. So working together, we created a soul modes framework for him and made a custom program for him to learn to get to know himself again, to learn to love himself, or even the pieces of him that he didn't like. He just needed to rediscover who he was without all of those extra influences. And I can't begin to tell you the change that this made. Fast forward to now, we are on detox number 3. He has now been clean for 19 months, 20 months. I think we're at 20 months. We have started his own business. He's successful. He is nothing like the other version that we've been dealing with. During a counselling session at age 17, one of his psychiatrists asked him what his life plan was and where he saw himself. And his response was that he didn't expect to live past the age of 20. As I was sitting there waiting for my grandson to be born, I had another child that didn't see past the age of 20 while I was sitting there thinking about my grandson's first day of school and his first date and all of those things. he didn't expect to live past 20. I'm really, really proud to say that we will be celebrating a 20th birthday in March in this house, not a 21st, a 20th, because it is a milestone that he himself never thought he would reach. One of the biggest troubles that we had with him was his bipolar disorder type 1. For those that aren't aware, bipolar type 1 is the variation of bipolar disorder that comes with schizophrenic tendencies. They hear voices and all other kinds of horrible things. Now, most people fear the extreme lows in a manic depressive person. And while that is true and they are dangerous, we have had many suicide attempts from that. For us, it was actually the manic highs that were most dangerous. Traveling down to Sydney from Newcastle with his boyfriend, he tried to jump out of the car 4 times. And afterwards, when we spoke about it, he said, "Mum, if I was at home and we were arguing, I would have just walked out of the room. I just wanted to walk out of the conversation and come back to it." But the way that his brain was working during this manic episode, it didn't stop to contemplate the fact that he was in a moving car. So we learned to walk on eggshells. When he would wake up of a morning in a good mood, we knew that this is potentially a dangerous day, just as the severe depression days were horrible. Both of these meant that I had to kind of follow him like a shadow, as if he was a toddler, and I had to make sure he didn't touch, PowerPoints and things like that. But as an adult, it was hard. But he's doing really well now, so back to the positive. But what I did discover while going through this with him was that what we were kind of implementing in our family also worked for myself in my business. Now, let me explain what soul modes is for a minute. So soul modes consists of 4 modes, and these are the 4 women that make up the incredible one that we are. First, we have wild mode. Then comes bear mode. Then super mode. And finally, sparkle mode. And we go through these in order constantly. So wild mode, she's the CEO. She's the big boss and the big thinker. She's very high energy and fearless. She's very logical and not really worried about the details of things at all. But if you get in her way when she's on a roll, look out for the lasers that will be shooting from her eyes, because just don't mess with her. She's on a mission. Now, after that comes bear mode. Now, bear mode is kind of like the board of directors. In the business analogy, she will bring up all of the bottlenecks, the possible outcomes, the questions that need to be raised and dealt with. How are we going to fund this new idea? Can our current team handle the idea? Do we need more training and all of those things? She, on a personal level, will also bring up the feelings of self-doubt, self-hatred, fear, and she kind of comes with a bit of a low depressive energy. She would much rather be at home under a blanket eating ice cream in bed with Netflix than basically to do anything else. But after her comes super mode. Now, super mode is the equivalent to the operations manager. She plans out the project, sets the budget and time frame, and delegates the jobs to the appropriate departments. She's all about spreadsheets and organization, and that translates to a personal level too. She's the mode that will meal plan. She's going to want to make sure all of the cupboards and all of the kids in the household are all organized and everything's up to date. And she's probably going to be the one that decides you're going to start a brand new workout regime, and it's going to happen no matter what. She's very high energy. She's the planner. Now, after her comes sparkle mode. Now, sparkle mode, think of her like the head of people and culture. She can be a little airheady, but she's the one that remembers all the team members' birthdays. She ensures everyone feels valued and appreciated. And she's also the design head and likes to make things nice and pretty. Personally, you'll find that when you're in sparkle mode, you're really craving connection, affection from other people. And she's all about the relationships, whether that be with your partner, with your children, your family, friends, or work colleagues. She'll take the time to do her hair or makeup that little bit nicer that day, just because she wants to feel as pretty outside as she feels on the inside that day. and she's going to crave social interactions and will make the effort to make sure that others around her feel that. Now, these modes do always go in order, as I said: wild, bear, super, sparkle, and then back to bear. But how long we spend in each of these modes depends on how quickly we fill our cup. Now, what fills my cup might not be exactly the right way to fill yours the most efficiently. So it does differ to everyone, and it depends on what you like and what you don't like. But by understanding the patterns and how each mode affected me personally, I was able to apply this in my business life. I no longer wasted hours just sitting here planning things that weren't immediately needed, or just flittering around trying to make things pretty when I just needed to get the work done. Once I began tracking my modes and figuring out exactly how they affected me, my moods and my energy levels, I could then plan tasks based around the mode I was in, doing my big idea thinking in wild mode, figuring out the roadblocks and how to overcome them in bear. Super mode was tidying it all up and getting it all planned, and sparkle made it all pretty. I no longer felt trapped at my desk. I was doing tasks that worked with myself, my modes and my energy to get all of the tasks done that I had to get done, but at a time where they lit me up and got me excited instead of trying to force productivity at times where my time was really better spent elsewhere. I was able to maximize my own productivity, finish all of my tasks on time, and at the end of the day, I felt energized and accomplished, and I've got to say, I kind of felt like a boss. Now, as well as the story above, it fits on a personal level when it comes to business as well. Specifically, women in business. My framework can help with the following, whether you are a female business owner or whether you're a male business owner that has feminine staff. I can show you how to increase productivity by knowing what mode you're in or your staff members are in and how it feels for you and for them, means that you can delegate and your staff can take on the tasks that they need to do in certain modes that will fill their cup and actually make their tasks and their to-do lists feel good instead of like a drain. It will give them a sense of accomplishment, even on the days where they would rather be at home in bed watching Netflix. Now, not only will this transform into the way that we organise our work and our schedule, but it will increase our productivity. But having this as a part of your company culture and leadership training will give multiple rewards. You will have staff that feel valued and understood. By knowing what mode your team members are in at any given time, you'll ensure that tasks that you need to delegate, especially if they're time sensitive, are delegated to staff members in wild mode or super mode, for example, where that task will actually make them feel good and appreciated and give them a deadline to meet that really fills their cup. And it will improve their mood, their self-worth and their confidence, and not add pressure or have a negative effect like it would, for example, in bear. Now, of course, there are times where you just need to get your shit done. But overall, you'll be able to plan your time out more effectively to maximize your efficiency. Now, I hear you wondering, why is this important? Look, if you have multiple staff, this will allow you to know which staff members to give the time-sensitive based tasks to on any given workday. If you have limited staff, you'll be able to understand how to use compassion and leniency that gets the job done while still looking after their mental health and the well-being of your staff. In 2014, a study by TNS in connection with Beyond Blue showed that 1 in 5 Australian employees reported that they'd taken time off work due to feeling mentally unwell over the previous 12 months. Now, due to someone breaking the entire world, these rates are expected to skyrocket as people transition from working from home to going back to the office. Now, according to a report shared by the Australian Unions Organisation this year, up to 45% of mental health problems experienced by working people are attributed to workplace conditions. And the initial data is confirming a rise in mental health issues since this pandemic hit. It's anyone's guess how these figures will go as people do begin to transfer from home to going back full-time to the office. Now, my framework is designed to reduce the number of mental health days taken by your staff at full pay, because they're allowed to do that here in Australia. If they're at home, you get zero productivity from them. But having staff that are struggling mentally or emotionally, yet feel their work environment is a safe, supportive space, and that their team leaders understand this framework, can still maintain a level of productivity. As the employee, knowing that your workplace understands that life has its ups and downs, and that as much as we try, sometimes we just can't help but let it affect our work life on occasion, is priceless. Knowing that your company acknowledges that going to work on a day where you'd rather be in bed is likely to be a less productive day than usual. Let's say completing 4 out of maybe the 10 tasks that they were due to get done that day. But had they stayed at home and had a mental health day, they would have gotten 0 done. And either way, it's costing you a day of wages. Your team members are more likely to be willing to come to work during these moments, with the understanding that they not need fear being reprimanded or being called out for being a slower day than usual. Now, this increases the value your team members place on your workplace, and in turn, their opinion on your company and the culture within it. By setting healthy boundaries with staff and team leaders and looking at the productivity of staff over, say, a week period, you'll be able to evaluate staff's performance at a more informative level than just the one day. You'll discover that staff that are in super mode or wild mode tend to be more productive than those in bear or sparkle. Employees that feel valued as a human and not just a wage to pay will be more loyal, and most employers find that they will be more willing to get their jobs done during high energy modes. Sometimes that might mean, having a working lunch at their desk, or, getting things done outside of work hours. And of course, that depends on your industry and if that's possible. Now, as you can see, soul modes can increase productivity. It will improve staff retention, and in return, also save you money on mental health days that are taken by staff while improving the company culture. Staff that love their workplace can't help but talk about it to those in their circles, meaning that your team members then go out in public as walking, talking advocates for your brand. Now, I'm yet to see someone who hears about the Google policies that we were talking about before and says, yeah, no, I don't want to work for them. Don't you want people thinking of this in that way of you and your brand? Now, let me recap what we've been talking about. I can help feminine cord members to uncover and discover the 4 incredible women that lie within you and how they help us to move forward and not keep us stagnant. I can help when it comes to shining the light on helping you feel empowered and how to live a life that feels good and no longer end each day feeling drained and exhausted. But as we discussed on a business side, I can help you increase productivity, reduce the amount of mental health days staff's taken, and make sure that your staff feel valued, and basically help people think of your business like the Google example. So if you're still wondering how this can help you or those that you know, please book a call with me. I'm here to help, whether people want to work with me one-on-one or whether they would like a more group environment. I tailor each program that I do to fit exactly what you need and for each and every person. So before I go, I know that you're probably still wondering, oh yeah, but has this really, can I connect with this? Now, again, in the chat, I would love you to comment. For the women, and for the men, let me know if your partner has ever done this. We've had that room or that cupboard that has just been driving us mad, and we need to get some organisation done. So we've pulled it all out, we've wiped it all down, and we're feeling great because we're getting this job done finally. But then we start to think, oh God, why did I do this? This was a really bad idea. I don't want to put any of this back. Now, that is a classic example of going from wild mode into bear mode. By pulling everything out and getting it all organised, you've filled your wild cup and you've shifted into bear mode, and your bear does not want anything to do with cleaning or anything of that sort. And so you're kind of left with the mess still there. But that is an example of just one of the ways that I can explain to you that we've all lived these kind of things. So by all means, contact me, and there is a link that I have shared with the summit today, and book a call with me and let's have a chat and see how this can work for you in your life personally and potentially also in your business.
Thank you so much, Alison. I trust that you guys have all now been introduced to 4 extraordinary women, whether that is within yourself or whether that is in the women or people that identify as feminine. Incredible, absolutely incredible. So thank you so much, Alison Marie. Now, again, if you'd like to connect with Alison, please do head over to the connection form and tick the box for Alison, and Alison will be in touch. It's now time for a very, very short break. We're going to have a break of about 6 minutes. So this just gives you an opportunity to stand up, shake yourself off, go do a water exchange, have a drink, go to the bathroom, and we'll see you back here in 6 minutes. Thank you guys so much.
Looking in the mirror again and again. Hushing my reflection and tell me something. I can't get a hold of myself. I can't get a situation. Looking at the street light, thinking about last time. This time I said I would do this right. Said I would never break this promise. But now I'm back to count it on us. We cannot be friends. Cannot pretend that it makes sense. We cannot be friends, cannot pretend that it makes sense. 'Cause now I'm in it, but I've been trying to find my way back for a minute. Damn, I'm in it, and I've been trying to find my way back for a minute. Looking all the things in my house, I'm alone in my head. But I wish you were in my bed. Can't get a read on myself. Gotta change the situation. But you know that I felt when I woke up. Told me that I shouldn't give up hope. Told me that I shouldn't fight, but I felt. Told me I should not let go. 'Cause he cannot be friends. Cannot pretend that it makes sense. 'Cause now I'm in it, but I've been trying to find my way back for a minute. Damn, I'm in it, and I've been trying to find my way back for a minute. 'Cause now I'm in it, and I've been trying to find my way back for a minute. And the rain keeps coming down, I wanna see this, and I can hear it, but I can't feel it. It's a looking in the mirror again and again.
Welcome back, everybody. I trust you had a little bit of time just to get up, to shake it off, to get your mind back in the game, because we've got 6 more amazing speakers, and we've got 3 coming up in just a moment before our next break. I want to take this time to thank our sponsors. We have had amazing sponsorship from Hello There, from Your Time Matters, and from Business Authorities. If you'd like to learn more about them, you can also connect with them inside of your Eventi platform. So now it is time for me to introduce our next incredible speaker, and it is our very first male speaker. So it is with great pleasure that I bring to you Richard Geralds. Richard is the founder and CEO, which stands for Chief Encouragement Officer of 3X, 5X, 7X, and is a thought leader in how you can present your value for success. To present, you have to sell yourself and your product. And that is something that everybody who's been speaking today has had great insights into. But fear not, he will dispel many of the myths about selling and demonstrate to you how you can use your social skills to feel comfortable when you present your value for success. He has over 40 years experience in the construction and conduct of programs in his role as a consultant to industry and commerce. Gerald has trained and coached people here in Australia and overseas in many of the Fortune 500 companies, including Shell, Pfizer, BP, Bayer, Procter & Gamble, and Johnson & Johnson, as well as one-person operations. So you know he's got success and knowledge in many different sectors. Gerald is not a theory person. His programs are based on his knowledge and experience as a salesperson through executive positions, including being National Sales and Marketing Manager of Ericsson Communications. And yes, they are still around. And in a previous life, as an accountant of international organizations. His sound, common sense, and bottom line focus help him to translate learning and skill strategies into approaches highly appealing to participants and clients alike. If you want the theory, read the books. But if you want to know how you can practically apply your knowledge and experience in a fun and interactive way, then Gerald is the person for you. So please help me welcome to our stage, Gerald Richards. Woo! Yay, Gerald.
Thank you so much, Anna. And just one small point is it's Gerald Richards, not Richard Gerald, I think you introduced me as.
I'm so sorry. This is sometimes what happens when people have two first names and my brain switches them around. So yes, please welcome to the stage, Gerald Richards. Woo!
Whoa! I've got a message here. Host has disabled participant screen sharing. Is that right? Because when I try and share the screen, there we go. Are you fed up of being sold to in an aggressive manner? Are you even afraid yourself to sell? Does sell or selling have negative connotations? Well, that's no surprise. Why? Because of the methods that have been used over the years. Now, let me explain something to you. In 1887, yes, in 1887, a fellow by the name of Patterson wrote the primer, and in it he stepped a way of selling. He trained his people to verbatim in front of clients. He was very successful. In those days, it was a competition. You competed against the customer. You handled objections and closed. It's the old sales close. Always be closing. A, B, C, always be closing. Well, you don't do that socially. You don't go to a social event and then say, oh, someone will have an objection. Think of the word objection. It means someone is disagreeing with you. Is that what you want from your prospects, from your customers? Every time you say something, you're thinking at the back of your mind, oh, they're going to object. Of course not. You don't do that in social situations. Times have moved on. We now start to use our social skills to present our value. And that is what sales is about. It is not a push, it is a pull. And through the perfect platform, we will demonstrate to you how you use your social skills to sell. It was Daniel Pink in his book, and he said, to sell is human. So, little wonder that we don't have all positive feelings about selling. It mainly is negative. Am I going to sell? I'm afraid. Why am I afraid? Because I don't want to come across as salesy, whatever that means. Tends to be, I'll talk you to death with my fantastic offer. Whether you like it or not, I'm going to shoehorn you into this program and progress. I'm pushy. I'm not interested in you. I'm only interested in getting what I want. So I push. Result, no trust. And you cannot have a relationship of any meaning without trust. And you will see those sorts of salespeople, self-interest. I only want what I want. If it satisfies you, hey, that is a coincidence. So let's have a look at using your social skills to sell. And I will keep saying, selling is presenting your value, your worth in a way that appeals to your target market. So what would you do if you weren't afraid to sell or had negative connotations? This is what you'd be like. That's how you behave in your social skills. Every one of those individuals is selling. They are presenting their value. We all sell. When you're going to sell your car, you tart it up, you get rid of the scratches, and you clean the inside. You present it in the best light, so the buyer is encouraged to buy. And that's what we want. We want buyers who are encouraged to buy, not buyers who are reticent to buy. So, Anna mentioned my background. I started off in the accounting and in administration field in the City of London. 400 people, wasn't a large company. I was the company secretary and the accountant there. I then decided to emigrate. And in those days, I put down my £10 and had a wonderful journey halfway across the world. It was fabulous. Stopped off at a few places, Cape Town, South Africa, all for £10. Whoa, that was a bargain. I then came to here in Australia and then realized I needed to eat. So I was an accountant, and then I was project manager with a company called Western Mining, which is now part of BHP. But then I was starting to develop my personality. So I naturally had to get out of being an accountant. And I joined Kodak when it was a company. And I had a wonderful experience there. Later on, I was headhunted to be National Sales and Marketing Manager of Ericsson Communications. But after a while, I felt I needed to go out on my own, which I did. And I've been doing that for over, I don't know, 30 years maybe. And I don't look 105, I know. And I specialize in sales negotiation, obviously finance and leadership. But what does all this mean to you? Because now I speak from a depth of knowledge, practical experience, so that you can apply it. As Anna said, if you want the theory, read the book. So at the end of this session, you should be able to please have a look at those numbers and decide 2 or 3, which is important for you to have addressed. Take those numbers and pop them into the chat box. All done? Then let's progress. So what you have to do when you're presenting your value, you have to decide whether you're going to be a whiffum, what's in it for me? Now, what's in it for me is not from your perspective if you're selling to me, but it is in my perspective. What's in it for me? What's it worthwhile? Did you present your value in a way that I got value? Or you can be a waftum, which is a waste of flipping time and money. You occupied my time and my space, and I achieved nothing. So you have to decide. So let's have a look at the benefits of using the perfect sale platform. It is based upon the way you communicate and, yes, sell yourself in social situations. So it's a natural progression. It being natural, it will develop your confidence and competence. Price value is always that balance. However, when you're presenting your value, then price falls away. And you'll end up with not a push, but a pull strategy that buyers will be more willing to buy than you are to sell. And you get return customers, which is what we want, because they're more profitable, they give you the testimonials, and they build your business. So let's have a look at what does the perfect sale stand for. Plan, establish rapport, research needs, focus on value, explore concerns, commit, tidy up. Perfect. So that's the acronym that we use. So we know that at every point where we are in the sales cycle, and it is a cycle, not linear. And who's in the center? The customer, because we want to surround the customer with love, understanding, and progress. So the first thing we do in Perfect is plan. Let's use a social situation. Say you are being invited to an engagement party. So first thing you want to know is, when is it? Time and date, always handy. I want to know where it is. Again, it's always a good start. How will I get there? Uber, taxi, own car, public transport? My wife and I had a very good deal in going to parties. We shared the driving. I drove there, she drove back. I thought that was a good idea. So who will be there? Who will I meet? Is it someone at an engagement party, if I can say that, engagement party, who is a close friend, or is it a friend of a friend? And what will I take? Will I take a plate, a present, wine, soft drink, whatever? So I plan. You may not do it in a structured sense as we would in a business sense, but we do it socially. I now establish rapport when I get there. And establishing rapport is a harmonious relationship. It's small talk, it's greetings. Hello, how are you? Oh, I'm well, thank you, etc. We then research needs. We want to find out about the other party. How do we do that? We question. And the way we question, there's only two types: closed question and an open question. Closed questions give you a yes or no or a fact. And you can't always guarantee the answer. So I always have to listen. I remember once I was talking to a prospect who ended up being a client. I said to him, how many people work here? He said, oh, about half of them. I didn't ask which half he was in. Open questions. This gives a reply of a thought, a feeling, emotion. Very important. Open questions. And we go into these in a great detail in the program. So now I focus on value. What is your value? Value is worth. Now, you can put, I ask about you at the party. You can be negative about it, or you put your best foot forward. You explain things, how good you are, etc. Not in a boasting way, but it's a very positive, energetic way. So I do with the client. I focus on the value. Value, which I have, but they have to understand and need and want. If they don't, then I haven't questioned them enough. Explore concerns. Now, what is a concern? It's a feeling of discomfort. Whenever you go out to a new situation, you will have concerns. Even at the engagement party, You'll be thinking, should I go over and talk to that person? I don't know. It's a feeling of discomfort. Nothing massive, but it's there. So what do I want to do? I want to explore those concerns with you when I'm selling to you in a professional way. How do I do that? I lock on. I listen, I observe, I question. So I lock on to you when you are my client. I want to listen. And again, during the program, we expand on this. Listening skills. How do I observe? What do I notice? I was traveling with a representative, and we walked into the foyer, and I said to him, notice anything? He said, no, because he was so focused on going up to the receptionist and booking in the appointment. But there were displays of their product. I have to observe. Question, question, question. I then commit, and commit is a pledge to take further positive action. We all make pledges. So if you and I have had a good conversation, and I may say to you, look, I'd love to carry on this discussion about the sex life of the Bolivian anteater. Is it okay if we go for a coffee or just talk over Zoom or over the phone? And you say, yes, okay, yeah, sounds good. I have to get a commitment from my customer before I leave, even if it is that I'm going to follow up or tidy up. So if I don't give you a call within a reasonable time, you'll think, ah, typical, he's full of hot air, he's full of fertilizer. Well, that's how it breaks down. So I make sure I follow up. There we have the perfect sale. Plan, establish rapport, research needs, focus on the value, explore concerns, commit, tidy up. So that's what we have a look at in terms of social skills selling using the perfect platform. Now, this platform is a platform which has been used by many satisfied customers. As you can see there, gained over 800 corporate clients. In Spalding, we used the program, and Neville Young, the MD, this is what he told me, 5 million increase in sales. 5 million. With Carpet Choice, we did a full-blown program, mystery shopping, interviewing people, both internally and at the various franchises. And it developed a particular way that they could deal with the customer and obtain sales. With Professional Hair Care, that was consulting and training the people. And Wade, the managing director there, the owner, he told me it added nearly 76,000 to their bottom line. Now, I'm not sure if that's of interest to you or not. So what are you going to get? It's a natural progress. It's the way you sell. Why are we reticent about selling? Because we have been told there's one way to sell, or you have to handle objections. Objections? Do you know how that came about? 1887, Patterson wrote a book on how to sell. It was called The Primer. And people are still handling objections. But when I ask them what do they mean, they don't say, oh, it means they're disagreeing with me. They say, no, it's not that. I say, what is it? Well, if you're in sales, you understand. I say, I'm in sales, I don't understand. I've been doing it for over 40 years. I still don't understand what you mean, because they don't explain it. They just say you've got to deal with it. Naturally, you don't have objections. You will build your confidence and competence. Price will fall away when you're explaining your value, because customers are willing to buy more than you are to sell. It is a pull situation. And the greatest profit you make is when you have customers who return. So that's what we talk about in the perfect sale. And remember, a market never bought anything. Customers buy things when they are asked. You will have to ask them. And in the program, we talk about ways to ask them. Very simple. You do it naturally. I'll show you how you do it naturally. And they go, oh, yes, I do that. Yes, you do that. It's not a mystery. So there we have the perfect sale, 7 steps to social skills selling. So what will happen is you will build your confidence. You will feel more secure in presenting your value. You won't have customers coming back and complaining, because if I sell to you in a pushy manner, they may only buy once, but the true sale is when they buy again and again and again, because you know you are doing something right. So I will leave you with this statement. And contact, email me, you can phone, we can have a chat. And on the 15th of December, I will be explaining it further on Eventbrite, which you can get through Anna's connection form. And to those who attend on the 15th, I have a bargain. This normally retails for $97. If you attend, it's going to be free. It has 3 CDs and it covers communication, the perfect sale, and action-centered leadership. So why not find out on the 15th what more can be offered and more detail, which will suit you, because the perfect platform is flexible. You will develop your skills based upon your social skills.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Gerald Richards. You know, it's really interesting. I love the idea of you have to ask for the sale. You see, only last weekend, we had a team meeting and one of our team went down the street to buy coffee. You know what? He came back and he said, would you like a bit of this biscuit? I was like, oh, that sounds good. He goes, you know, that's the power of asking for the sale. He was only going to get coffee, but the person behind the counter said, hey, would you like a biscuit with that? And voila, we all got to share a biscuit. So never, ever underestimate the power of asking for a sale. So now we are going to move on to our next speaker. I'd like to ask Gerald to please stop sharing our screen so that we can have Judith Field, who's coming up next, be able to share her beautiful slides with us. And let me introduce you to Judith Field. Judith is the CEO of Direct Speech, a company that focuses on successfully teaching public speaking to thousands of children and corporate clients and companies for over 16 years. Judith left a stellar career in education and leadership to empower the public speaking, the public in speaking, to empower the public in speaking. And that is the greatest skill that anybody can have. She has helped found a school and now helps people to speak confidently anywhere, at any time, and to any size audience. Her methods are quick, effective, and memorable, combining theory, practice, and wit. The feedback from her workshops is outstanding. So please help me welcome to the stage, Judith Field. Woo! Go, Judith.
I'm going to start again. We've just heard 4 amazing speakers. What made them amazing? it wasn't just their words. It was their positive body language, their clear voices, and their words that worked. Do you know, when I go to a party or sometimes to a business meeting, now and again, I meet somebody who says, after I say the words public speaking, oh yeah, I don't do that. And so I politely smile and say, so what do you do? And they reply things from, I run a small business, I manage a team at work, I'm an active parent, I'm a teacher. Whatever they're answering, they and you all do public speaking, all require communication or presentation. And we've all been doing it since we were about 14 months old. So why would we have a course on 7 steps to powerful presentations? Well, let me tell you, there are a few problems. And when you present, just need to push it down. There we go. We need to ask, what is the problem? There are lots of problems. People are more afraid of speaking than virtually anything else. They'd rather die and be in the coffin than speak. Well, I'm here to change that. So let's have a look at what some of the problems might be. Fear of forgetting, actually going blank. Now, let me tell you that that can happen if you're worried about everyone looking at you instead of concentrating on your message out. If your funnel is on helping them, you're not likely to forget, unless you haven't practiced enough, of course. Rambling, just talking and talking without a clear structure or pauses or brevity or clarity. Some people have told me, since I began in 2004, that you don't like the people staring at you. Well, for a start, they're not actually staring. If they're well and good and interested, they'll be looking at you. And they will be judging you as interesting, as inspiring, as empowering, as all the 4 speakers so far have been. In the last 2 years, most of us, including today, have had to learn to present online. It's actually tricky looking at a spot in the middle of your computer instead of real people. It's counterintuitive. And let's face it, it isn't as real and genuine as being in the room and seeing the nods and seeing the head and the voice and the way that people look to you as you speak, because they do communicate back. And here we've got too many people, like as in, I'm all right with 5, maybe up to 20, but give me a room full of people up to 60 and no. Well, I've got news for those sort of people. It's exactly the same presenting to 2, 22, 222 or 2,222, but it just feels different. It feels a little bit scarier. And as we've heard this morning from our other speakers, fear can freeze you. It can, in fact, make you clam up. I was given a beautiful introduction then by Anna, our leader and our workshop organizer, and she's been amazing. But I just want to reinforce some of the who am I bits, besides the purple lady. When I went out on my own, having taught in a stellar career for over 40 years, I met through a workshop someone who helped me become a master practitioner in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. It has made all the difference, because not only does it deal with limiting beliefs like I'm not good enough or I don't speak well, but it helped me be brave enough to start a business at a certain age where I could have actually been slowing down. Brilliant. You can watch people's body language, you can understand their subconscious thoughts, just empowering. I happen to have 3 degrees in education, including a degree from primary to secondary and my first degree. And after helping found King David School, a very successful school in Melbourne, during that time, I was head of English at Mount Scopus College, the most successful academic school in Victoria. Now, not only have I been running seminars and corporates and getting lots of feedback, I've made a DVD, Speech Matters, covers a lot of practical things, and today that's on special for 100. But even more useful is my book, Speech Matters. A very practical, hands-on, sold hundreds and hundreds of copies. And it is for students year 7 to 10, but I can assure you that if it's not just for your children, it's also adults have told me how useful this book is. And it's full of funny cartoons. Okay, let's just find a cartoon, a picture. There we go. So, and on everything is my logo behind me here, and that's who I am. And so what? It's not about me, this is all about you. So let's move on. Just a couple of testimonials for you to read, and there are hundreds. Why do my methods stick? Because I'm a born teacher who loves to be silly, serious, memorable, weird, and purple. In fact, I bump into people years later who say, "Hello, Mrs. Purple, ready, aim, fire," because they remember what I taught them. And some say, "You know, I kept all your tips and it helped me get my first job." So how good are you, and how memorable and how powerful, whether you're in business, a partner, a mother, a child, or just a human being? So what is the solution to all of these little problems of fear and size and whatever? My 5-week course, of course. In the 7 steps, you will learn everything you need to know to be able to speak to anyone, anywhere, anytime. And smile while you're doing it. So what are the 7 steps to confident communication? And here they are. Just have a think about which one of those bothers you. If you want to put it in the chat, which one of those would be your biggest challenge? Is it the preparation, the structure, the body language, your voice, which words to use, notes, or even perhaps those ghastly little nerves? So before you can actually celebrate, you have to be able to say the words in the way that you want to empower people that you connect with. Let's have a look in a little bit more detail at those 7 steps, which we will cover in the course, and which I can answer your questions to after the course if you want to contact me. Preparation is the key. If you don't plan and prepare, They say that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You need to know what you're talking about, who you're talking to, and why. From all the speakers today, they've all spoken from their heart and their head. Our first speaker moved us with her personal stories about her dad. Our second speaker just said it don't survive, thrive. Amazing the way each one of us have learnt to use our bodies, our voice, and our words and speak from our heart and head. So let's move on. Structure is vital in everything, in your body, with your spine, in a building. But in a speech, it's vital so that you know where you're going and they know where you're going. You have to have a sizzling start to hook them in, something relevant, something shocking, something quotey. During the middle of your presentation, you have to clearly signpost where you're going in order and have the paragraphs clearly indicated with pauses and evidence. But stories are the most important thing. And at this point, I just want to blanket out and tell you a story from when I got confident, because I wasn't always this confident speaker who got fabulous feedback. In fact, when I was 10, I remember playing cricket in the back garden with my big brothers. We had a big back garden and we'd play cricket every day after school and on the weekends. And I was the youngest of the three and the only girl, and therefore always outfielder. Suddenly, I don't know what came over me. I went up to my big brother, who was 4.5 years older than me and taller, and said, Lloyd, I want to bat twice and I want you to bowl underarm. And he said, get out there, sis, and bowl, you bitch. Oh, sorry, but he did. And I said, don't know where this came from. Hands akimbo. No, you need me more than I need you. And then I kept quiet. And it worked. And leadership came to me after that, and success. I became a senior mistress after 4 years teaching and head of English at Mount Scopus, and helped found King David's School, and then founded my own business. So you too could be empowered to move from where you are if you know how to speak and how to have a fantastic message at the end. It is the most important part of your presentation. So don't finish with thank you. It's polite, it's Anglo-Saxon, and it's a little bit weak. So let's move on and quickly look at body language, which here are just to tease you, will just share some of the aspects. Face, smile when it's good news. Keep eye contact, here with the camera or with the audience if it's face to face. Watch what you do with your hands, not too fiddly. Keep your feet still. Any rocking, any jogging, any movements, tapping, crossing the legs behind will distract. And fiddle not. I don't mean with a fiddle and a, you know, I'm talking about fiddle with your hands. Let's even have a look at this man. He's got his hands crossed in front of him. Not a good look, gentlemen. And we women wonder what you're doing with your hands. So don't do that. Now, here's another teaser of many things. There's about 9 aspects of voice, and it's very important, nearly as important as body language. But the 5 P's, pronunciation, projection, pitch, pauses, and pace, are some of the most important other than tone. Pauses, vital, between points, to allow your audience to think, for you to take a breath. And just because you're watching today, the pace should be about 120 words per minute, but you'll have to get into the course and ask me questions to find out more. And finally, those words, short, sharp, simple words, are much better than polysyllabic, complicated words, which are hard to say. Throw in lots of adjectives. Don't say the truck went down the road. Say the red truck raced, its sirens blazing down the street, scattering people. Because every time you create images, you're on the right track. Figurative language is all that poetic stuff, as in metaphors and similes and all the things that also create images and fun and tickle the brain, like boys bat better. And finally, you need some words from your head and some words from your heart. With notes, right now, I'll keep it simple by saying you need to have them as a prop, as a safety net, whether it's on your mobile phone, whether it's underneath your PowerPoint, whether it's just with a mnemonic. You use ready, aim, fire, which means when you need your notes, you look at them, you look up, and then you speak. And if you've got something you want to show, you maybe touch it, turn, and talk. All of these simple little words that rhyme and go together help you remember. Nerves, we all have them. Nerves can be harnessed for your birds to fly together rather than all over the place. And if you practice a minimum of 13 times as if you're in front of the audience, you'll definitely speak better. Breathing, if you don't do it, you're dead. But breath helps you project, helps you stay on track. But the voice in the head needs to be told to go away because it's not serving you. So what are the benefits of getting training in public speaking? If you do my course, I promise you, you will be more confident, more competent, you will speak clearer, more concisely, because less is more. You can be whatever you want to be, whether it's interesting, entertaining, persuasive, but you'll be powerful. You'll know what to do with your body, voice, and words. And as Anna said at the beginning, and I have repeated, you will be able to speak anywhere to anyone, anytime. My next course is February the 12th, 5 weeks, normally $2,999, but today and tomorrow, $1,999. And my book, normally $30, today $25 and tomorrow. And this I am virtually giving away for $50. And it has a lot of very good tips and practices. So if you want to contact me through my site or through my email or through Eventbrite, you just need to contact Anna and I will be very happy to answer your questions and answer any concerns that you might have. So remember, you need to stand out from the crowd. So let me finish with my favorite 3 sentences, 2 stolen from Alice in Wonderland. Whenever you speak, I want you to say what you mean. I want you to mean what you say. And I never, ever want you to be mean when you say it.
Woo! Thank you so much, Judith. What an amazing insight. What an amazing woman with so much knowledge and insights and history. And it's just such an amazing opportunity to have somebody like that share with us the potential of presenting effectively. And as I mentioned earlier, it is one of the greatest skills that you can have. Being able to present effectively and impactfully is a skill not just for business, but for life. So thank you so much, Judith, for sharing that. Now, as Judith mentioned, if you'd like to connect with Judith and you'd like to attend Judith's program, which I can 100% guarantee is going to be amazing, please do head to the connection form and tick the box for Judith. Now I've got the pleasure to present another speaker. Her name is Tracy Spate, and her talk is a little bit creative. Tracy has been creative since she was a young girl. After enjoying a successful career as a geologist and as a computer scientist, neither of which sound creative, she chose to turn her creative passion into a business, teaching people how to use art to connect, create, and have fun by getting in touch with their creativity whilst finding inner harmony. She regularly exhibits her for local community projects such as Black Dog and in galleries all around Melbourne. She loves to travel with her husband and family. And on her travels, she loves getting inspiration for her artwork through those experiences. She's traveled around Australia, New Zealand, England, the USA, and Canada. Please help me welcome to the stage, Tracy Spate. Woo! Yay, Tracy.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you very much. And I'm excited to present my my presentation to all of you. And thank you, Judith, for a wonderful talk. I'm happily admit to being one of those with lots of nerves. I would like to talk to you today about creativity. I've heard so many times people tell me I'm not creative, I don't have a creative bone in my body, but everyone has a creative ability. It's just a matter of learning how to connect to that creativity. And I found through my own experience that I really enjoy creating, but it also gives me a relaxing feeling getting into various creative pursuits. I would like to show you how art can give you that ability to help you connect to your creativity. And you don't have to be an artist to be creative. You don't have to have any creative abilities that you think you don't have, because everyone does have a creative ability, even if you're a gardener or a scientist even. And I'd like to talk to you about that today. My name is Tracy, and I'm with Waratah's Tree, and I have been a creative all my life, even as a scientist when I would explore the Flinders Ranges, when I was studying geology and computer science with my family, and this is one of my children. He is now grown with a family of his own, and we used to do a lot of backpacking, a lot of hiking, and many times I was just loved looking at the beautiful formations, the trees, the wonder of nature, and all the travels that we did over the years. And many times I often wanted to create what I saw, but I also, as a scientist, looked at what I saw in nature and wondered how was this formed? And I used to use my imagination and my creative abilities to look at it, to figure out how was this formation created? What processes were there? Even though I was using scientific processes to come to various conclusions, I still liked to imagine how they were formed. And even physicists and theoretical scientists many times draw from their imagination and that creative ability that they have to be able to come to new and different knowledge that they didn't have before. And so I studied geology and computer science in the 80s, and I spent many times wondering about how my world was formed, and also whenever I was doing geological reports for my company, I would actually need to draw on that knowledge, scientific knowledge, but also my creativity to be able to talk about the various different geological reports that I had to write. So, you know, one of the things that I found that when I was studying as a geologist, and also when I was in my career as a geologist and computer scientist, it was a highly stressful job. I always had to think on my feet. I always had to come up with results. As a geoscientist, I also had to constantly keep the computers running, the software running, to make sure that all of us could actually do what we need to do in our day-to-day jobs. And it was a highly stressful job. And I had a counselor one time tell me that I needed to find a hobby, to do something outside of my own family, my career. And so I decided, well, I always wanted to paint and draw what I saw out in the field, and also in the core labs, and be able to draw this, you know, beauty that I saw that was hard to put into words. And I wanted to be able to draw. So I started taking art classes as a relaxation therapy. I decided I was in the art class to have fun, to talk to other people in the class was a way of relaxing, relieving stress. I spent many weeks, months, and years even just going to these classes, enjoying myself. And then when I decided to finish my career, I decided I wanted to go out on my own. And my husband and many of my friends said, why don't you just make your hobby your business? You know, you could teach people, you know, how to enjoy art, you know, and not necessarily be a professional artist. So I wanted to start a business showing people how fun art was, but also show people that through being in a social atmosphere, they can learn to relax and also get in touch with their creativity. And that was how I found that art was a really great way to release people's creativity without them actually realizing that they were, you know, without a conscious ability to release that creativity. And so I started out creating a social atmosphere of teaching people canvas painting parties, art parties, and creative art parties. And one of my first events, I had a group of lawyers, business managers, teachers, and accountants who were a great start. And it was really a lot of fun. And I taught them the exact same method, the exact same way to mix their paint, draw the bottle of wine and the glasses, and every single one of them came out with a different result. And I, you know, was amazed at how easy it was for them to get in touch with their creativity. And they started out, a lot of them saying, I can't draw, I can't do this, I can't, you know, create, I've never done this before. And they came up with some amazing results. And one of the, in this event, they particularly decided they didn't want me to draw it for them. They wanted to all draw it themselves. They wanted to make it a competition. And afterwards, they all went to the local pub and decided that they were going to have a competition and auction off the best canvas and give the money to charity. And it was a lot of fun. And I really, really was wanting to ask the story about this particular canvas. This was the lawyer in our group, and I wanted to find out what his story was about his canvas, and he wouldn't really tell me what the story was, why he did this, but he said he'd never painted before, and that he had a lot of fun, and he just put his own imagination and creativity into that event, and they all had went away with a great atmosphere. And this was one of the first events I did 7 years ago. So and I've had many since then. And so you know, I found through this social activity that people talk to themselves. They compare notes, but they also talk about what they did at work, what they did, you know, yesterday, or, you know, for these guys, you know, that's a great new bike, you know, how's the new bike? And by doing that, they were relaxing. They were actually getting in touch with that creativity without realizing it, without a conscious, you know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to create this wonderful painting. And they relaxed and had a lot of fun. And that was my biggest thing, is I tell everyone that they need to have fun. They need to relax. It's not about being perfect. It's about the journey along the way to become, you know, to get in touch with their creativity. And I also hear a lot of times people are really frightened to try anything new, like a lot of us are. And Eileen came to this group of friends. They all get together every month and have a activity, usually some sort of creative activity. And many times I came along once a month to their activity and taught them all how to paint a different canvas, or taught them how to do some creative art processes. And Eileen was in the group. She said, I can't do this. I don't have any creative ability, no creative bone in my body. I can't draw, can't paint, never touched a paintbrush. And she's actually the one, I don't know why she was hiding her face, but the one in the middle there. And she sat there for about 10 or 15 minutes and realized that I teach in a very step-by-step way of learning how to create a piece of artwork. And in this instance, it was all drawn on for them, and all they had to do was follow the instructions. And so she was there for about 10 or 15 minutes, and she said, you know what, I can do this. I'll try this. And she really had a great time. And it was really fun to see Eileen actually just have that aha moment, which I found throughout the last 7 years of doing this, that people had that aha moment. Oh, I can do this. You know, I can create. You know, I do have this creative ability. And that's where I get the most enjoyment out of teaching creative art classes. So the other event that I teach, no, I don't. So sorry about that. This one here is when I first started out, I was doing a lot of promotion. I was getting family, friends to do it for me so that I could perfect the system, so that I could show them how easy it was. And this young man here is my husband, and he volunteered for one of the group sessions that I had. He's a very analytical, scientific person, thinks in very black and white, and I was really pleased with his result. And it was very creative in the way, and expressive in the way he created this painting. And again, it was just step-by-step instructions, no one had to know how to draw, and they all come up with their own creative input and experience in the canvas painting parties that I've done over the years. And I was really pleased, and I quite often use his canvas rather than mine as one of the photos and promotions that I do when I teach this particular canvas. The other way that I teach how to get in touch with your creativity is through creative art classes. I've started out teaching a children's class with a group of primary school and high school students, and they were from ages 5 to 14, I think the oldest one was. And I teach the same method, but I always allow them to add their own little twist to it. And through that class, I teach abstract concepts and processes so that they're not locked into, I must do it this way, I must do it exactly the way she's showing me, but they put their own creative abilities into it. And this one here is my favorite class that I taught. And it's a sort of a bent on Jackson Pollock's Blue Poles. And when I wanted to teach this abstract method, I thought, well, Jackson Pollock would throw paint at these massive canvases. And I thought, the last thing I need to do in a cafe where I'm teaching this class is have the kids throwing paint everywhere. And I just couldn't imagine what it would end up looking like. So I showed them a different method of creating their own little blue poles. And this was so much fun having the kids learn about Jackson Pollock. So in my creative art classes, I don't teach you must do it this way. It's always about the method and the journey rather than the process and the result. And the kids had so much fun that their parents who stayed in the cafe, had coffee and were talking, asked me if I would actually create an event for them. And unfortunately, at the time, I said, well, I want to perfect this class first because the kids are sponges, and what they do, I can recreate it for adults. But unfortunately, COVID happened and I never got to do it. And I finally created one for adults, and I'm excited about teaching it starting in February. Well, one of the things I always talk about is it's not about the actual process, it's not about the results, but it's about the journey. It's about enjoying what you're doing, but it's also about just thinking differently. You know, I'm showing you this method that may be like this, but I want you to actually take it further and use your imagination and your creativity, and also just to relax in the process. And this is Alana. She's 7 in this photo, and she's been in my classes for, you know, a number of years. And through doing a number of the terms that she did with me with a creative art class, her art teacher in primary school saw the changes that she was developing in the art class and opening up with her creativity. And also, you know, she had a stutter, and she also started opening up and talking more and being more, you know, excited and confident about her art. And her teacher decided to ask her if she wanted to help in the play at their school play and create some sets and paint some of the sets for her. And she was so excited about it. And so was her mother. And I was really excited because it meant that she was getting it. She was opening up and allowing that creativity to flow in her art and in through her life as well. So thank you for being here today. I've really enjoyed talking about this. I love teaching art. I like doing art. Some of my work back here, but also even I start out with abstract processes when I create many of my artworks. You may not see them in the final processes, but I do start out with those same creative processes, because I found that it actually helps you get in that creative mode, and I use art to do it. I'd love you to join my next event. My event starts on 21st of February, and you can find me at Waratahs Free, spelled with 2 R's, in Waratahs Free / events, and also in Eventbrite under the same name, Waratahs Free. And I'd like to thank you for coming to this conference and listening to my talk about creativity and being relaxed, and how I like to use social events to help people connect to their creativity. And even the children in their classes would gain a lot more knowledge and open up that creative well inside them. And I'd love, if you have any questions, to please pass them on to Anna, or put them in the chat, and or send me an email, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you very much, and happy creating.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Tracy. Again, what a beautiful way to look at being able to engage our creativity and help us really relax, engage a different part of who we are, because we all have creativity within us. And as you've heard, it's not really about the output, it's about the process of engaging your creative selves. So thank you so much, Tracy. And again, as you've heard, Tracy is running a workshop. So please do make sure that you grab the connection form and you pop your tick next to Tracy's name. So it's time for another very quick break. Again, we've been going for a little bit. I know that we all need to disengage and re-engage. So we're going to take about a 5-minute break. We're going to be back at 12:42, and we've got 3 more exciting speakers who are going to share their insights, their niche industry insights into their specific industry field. So let's take a break, and we will see you back here soon. Put some music on.
That's the way I like it. My garden's a secret compartment, and that's the way I like it. And that's the way I like it. Your body's a dream that turns violent, and that's the way I like it. And that's the way I like it. The winter is long in the city, and that's the way I like it. So please, backstage in Pomona, and that's the way I like it. She drank beer with Coca-Cola, and that's the way I like it. And that's the way I like it. She'd tell me about the winds from Santa Ana, and that's the way I like it. And that's the way I like it. She told me she'd love me like fireworks, and that's the way I like it. So please, baby, please,
Good Charlotte on the radio, and that's the way I like it. They play Sleepy Jackson on the radio, and that's the way I like it. Yeah, that's the way I like it. I hear Beyonce on the radio, and that's the way I like it, 'cause that's the way I like it. They don't play me on the radio, but that's the way I like it. So please, baby, please, open your heart and catch my disease. So please, baby, please, come on, catch my disease. Catch my disease. Catch my disease. Catch my disease. Catch my disease.
Came in like a vision from the old west, went like a bright new dream that I was stepping in. I saw your face and I knew it was a sign, and I still think about that moment all of the time.
Welcome back from that short break. Again, I do trust that you all had a chance to stand up, shake yourselves out. And if you haven't, please join me in getting up, standing, giving yourselves just a little bit of a shake out, because we all know that it can be difficult to concentrate if we're not moving our bodies. So far we have had six incredible speakers. They're all niche industry influencers, all specialize in very, very different niches, and all have such incredible stories and insights to share. So let us continue with our next speaker. Our next speaker is John C.H. Perry. John invests in people who increase the size of the pie. He shows them how to build value, resulting in more rewards to share, social and monetary rewards. He earned a Bachelor of Economics and Politics and has traveled extensively to meet teachers in all domains of knowledge. John has 3 successes as a startup co-founder, backed by investors and private and government partnerships in Australia and Asia. And he actively invests in committed startup teams with innovative technology. I know this because John has helped to support me. Now, John began his poetic life in Africa in 2015. Now regularly performing his material in Melbourne's poetry slams and competitions. John is known as the CEO/poet, encouraging people to take ownership of their thing and stand at the heart of global change. In case that means through poetry and well, in his case, it means through poetry and in business. And that's how he stands at the heart of global change. So please help me welcome to the stage, John C.H. Perry. Woo! Go, John.
Okay, thank you so much, Hannah, for that. So my question for you to contemplate for the next 20 minutes is, are you ready for funding? Because if you're ready for funding, it means you're ready to come and sit at the table of plenty. And to sit at the table of plenty, you must come hungry for investing in yourself. And very likely, if you've got a need for funding, you've got, whoops, here we go. Excuse the technical glitch here. Where are we? If you've got a need for funding, you've got a golden idea. You're sitting on a golden idea. So let's just say you're like me and sometimes you attend investor funding meetings. There's angel investors in Melbourne that I know who look at 1,200 deals a year and they maybe invest in 10, probably 5. So the odds are 120 to 1 to get your golden idea funded. And let's just look at it, the hard realities. When you're trying to get a job, you're trying to get your employer to fund you. When you're onboarding a client, you want that client to fund the growth of your business. When you're selling your big idea to the C-suite in your corporation, you want them to fund your career growth. And getting a $500 million loan, I was recently talking to a banker at a breakfast at a time when lockdown wasn't on, obviously, and she was telling me she has the capacity to sign off on $500 million, up to $500 million of loan funds, and had done just really recently to a really huge agricultural project in the north of Australia. So we're all looking for funding. That's the point. We have a golden idea, maybe for our best job, for our ideal client, and so on. So how do you improve the odds if they're 120 to 1? We know that tactics, skills, strategies are very, very important. That's completely obvious. But what we're talking about today is to improve your odds. It's as much about how you value you. It's as much about how you value you. So my name's John Perry, as Anna said, and I'm known as the CEO poet. And I'll tell you a little bit about my experience, how I've come to use business and the arts to bring out my value, to express my value, and to bring about the change I want to see in the world. So I've done 3 startups from start through to exit. So starting as a co-founder, getting the funds, growing through export or sales, and exit means that somebody bought my share of the business. I had the money, they had the business from then. And I talk about this at various places, like there's there on the bottom there, the breakfast series, the angel investor breakfast series. I was talking about how we were using marine biotechnology to take pressure off the sea stock. So improving the environment and making money. And Swinburne University's Masters of Innovation, there I was talking in the Pitcher Partner offices about exactly that. So I won't go into any more detail there, but you can see I talk around about the place because I'm helping people come to the realization you can use business to express yourself and create what you want to see in the world. Here's me talking to a group of founders and small business people to do exactly that, helping them on their journey. And there's me launching my first poem. And I bribed them all by saying, there's plenty of food and drink if you can just hang on for 30 minutes. But it turned out to be very successful, if I say so myself. So a turning point for me was when Peter Brock wrote me this on a table napkin in a cafe at the top of Collins Street. And he was involved in automotive business. He was a race car driver, if you don't know, very successful and also successful in business. And he was involved in our business, so he would have seen me as successful and a performer. But still, he looked more deeply at me and said, are you living your dreams, John? And that's really the theme, isn't it? Because if we want funding for our golden idea, what I'm suggesting is that it's as much about how you value you that's going to get you through to get your ideal job, your ideal client, get your golden idea funded through investors or lenders. And the thing then is you're going to hit something that I've seen anyway very much happening when people go for funding, when they go out with their startup and they say, oh, now I've got to get investors. And immediately it's like, oh, I don't know any investors, or I don't know how to do this, or I don't know what, or I can't something. Because we're taught about knowing what to do before we start. That's our education, that's our socialization. And those self-imposed boundaries, or ones like it, will cut us off from opportunities and career opportunities. So we're going to talk about the 3 shifts to get your golden idea funded, whether it's for your job or your big idea or cash injection into your business. Stopping through 3 windows of being able to revalue and upgrade your own value. Stop ignoring, see the elephant, take a stand. So the first one is stop ignoring. Stop ignoring what? Stop ignoring your greatness. So this is not highfalutin. This is pretty straightforward. I'll give you an example. We were together. I was a co-founder, one of 3 co-founders on our first marine biotechnology, that's fish farming or aquaculture business. And we had the skills and time being invested in us from Professor Forte. And his university, Tasmania University, were providing us research resources. And we had people introducing us to networks, investing their reputation. And of course, we were looking for funding. And we were looking for purchases of our product. And what happened was one Sunday morning when the 3 founders were getting together, as we did Sunday mornings around, it was mostly during winter at that time, around a roaring fire, and we were having a cup of tea and a break in our planning. And someone came up to us, the short story was, someone came up to us and said, do you boys want any money? And they were hearing the story that by commercializing this species of fish, we were going to take pressure off the sea stock, help that species survive and grow and improve the condition of the oceans, right? So they knew our background. They loved the story. There was trust there. But that's how simple living into your greatness can be. You just follow your vision. And in case you think that that's just John or that's just a one-off example, Blackbird Venture Capital, who are a venture capital firm out of Sydney, have this as published as one of their criteria. Obviously, there are numerous criteria, but this is one criteria they look for in founders. We invest in wild hearts because a wild heart will follow its greatness. Second, see the elephant. So we're talking about getting outside of our self-imposed boundaries and improving the odds to get our golden idea off the ground, whether it's for a job, onboarding a client, or funding our project. And I was being interviewed by Sandra Spencer last year, actually, and she was talking to me about my life as an entrepreneur and a creator. And I read her this quote from Professor Howard Stevenson of Harvard Business School. It's a really old quote, but it's the quote on entrepreneurship in my opinion anyway. Entrepreneurship is the pursuit of opportunity without regard to resources currently controlled. You go for it, even though you don't have the resources. And when I read that quote to William Whitecloud, who's a creativity coach and whose writing course I was on when I became a poet, he said, oh, that's creativity 101. You set your vision and you go for it without knowing how it's going to happen. And if you think, okay, sure, that's fine. Here's the other reason why we're all entrepreneurs now, because we don't know what's going to happen, right? But the other thing that's with Sandra's point, we don't know what's going to happen. So that makes us all creators and entrepreneurs. And we don't know how life's going to work out necessarily. But here's the big picture. Your skills, your precious 10,000 hours, your skills that are making you who you think you are increasingly becoming a commodity, because there's a point being reached, I think it's called the Turing point, where Bookings in March 21 this year presented research saying that the impact of artificial intelligence on the labour markets, not only in manufacturing and production, but it's also in high-skilled and highly paid workers. And who's to say if it's going to encroach on their industry or not? It'd be like not seeing the elephant in the room if you didn't realize that now you've got to be an entrepreneur, because the things that machines can't do are perception, creative intelligence, and social intelligence, according to Frey and Osborne. And they're the skills we need. They're the capabilities we need when we're being creative and entrepreneurial. So that's the big picture reason why we are all entrepreneurs now. And what it looks like in a quadrant is you playing to your strength, where you're pulling together how you do what you do and why you do it. And you take a stand. You take a stand. Firstly, you stop telling yourself things should be different. They should do this. They shouldn't do that. This shouldn't be happening. And you switch to asking for what you want. You take a stand. You stand for your greatness and you ask for what you want. And you see that the change we're going through is an opportunity to lead the way. That's what Steve Blank says anyway. And the story here is this. Mark Randolph, whose name's on the bottom left-hand corner, he was one of the founders of Netflix. And then he's gone on to found another company since. And he goes around giving lectures to entrepreneurial groups or to people in general. And he says the only two things you need, this is based on his experience building Netflix and another one beside, is tolerance for risk and confidence. And then, of course, you need the third thing, is you need your golden idea. His golden idea was Netflix. You have your golden idea. I have my golden ideas. And it really comes down to that you count yourself in. You say yes to you. Because if you're waiting for someone else to tell you, oh, John, you won't fail, you will fail. It's guaranteed to some extent. There's a million failures on the way to success. And if you're waiting for somebody else, according to James Altucher, you'll be a nobody. I wouldn't say that, but he's a New Yorker, so he says things like, you'll be a nobody. And when we summarize, when we look at it, what we've been talking about, when that person came up to us and offered us money, just hearing and loving the story, hearing the greatness of the story, we were of our using aquaculture and marine biotechnology to help the environment whilst making money. And seeing that we had people investing skills and resources, came up to us and said, do you want some money? So when your golden idea is happening, people are investing in you. And so the question is, for the last few minutes, is how do you get the best and most giving investors around you, whether it be skills, time, reputation, resources, or money, to invest in you? And we're saying it's about how you value you. And what that looks like is playing to your strengths, where you're willing to perform and you maintain your vision in spite of not having the resources. Because as Howard Stevenson says, if you're pursuing opportunity and you don't have the resources, what's going to carry you through is your vision and your willingness to perform and go outside of your self-imposed boundaries. and not listen to the odds that you can't do it because it's 100 to 1, 20 to 1. Because as Mark Randolph says, the Netflix guy, your idea is not good, it's that you're actually trying it. And when you think about it, that's what happened to us. The investor came over to us, well, not even a professional investor, just a person who was willing to invest, because they could see what we were doing. The integrity was that we were actually trying it, doing it. But remember, there's the self-imposed boundaries. So you may say, look, I don't have any self-imposed boundaries. But I'd ask you to ask yourself, is there anything, have you got an idea that's in the bottom drawer or sitting on the shelf that you'd love to have happen, or something you think they should do something about, and you're not doing all you could do? We call that the waiting room. And that's always accompanied by really, really good reasons not to be doing it, which are very often an indicator that you are inside your self-imposed boundaries. So the pursuit of opportunity, in summary, is you take a stand. When you pursue opportunity where you don't know how it's going to happen, you take an entrepreneurial or creative stand, you don't have the resources, you take a stand, you express your greatness, you follow through. And what it means is you've got to be able to reset to your strengths. You've got to be able to reset to your strengths, because to be 1 in a million, to go outside of your self-imposed boundaries and stop listening to the odds that you can't do it, and to set new pathways for yourself and for your career, you need to maintain high performance and clarity of vision and bring together the how, what, and why. And you need to be able to reset quickly away from, because look, it's an internal game, right? You can either listen to you can't, or you can listen to this is what I want to do. No guarantees, but this is what I want to do. So pursuing an opportunity is about resetting to your strengths. There's a link in connections form on Eventi or in chat on Zoom. And it's a PDF, it's free, and it's a very quick tool to use to be able to reconnect to your vision through shifting your perception, your attitude, and your decisions you make. It's free. At the moment, it's free because I've tried it. It's well used, it works, but I would like some more feedback. So if you do download it, I would ask your permission if I can send you a survey to tell me what you think. You know, I'll give it 1 to 5 in about 6 categories. The connections there in the chat, I do hope you have enjoyed what I've said, and thank you very much for your attention and time. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, John. Again, what an incredible idea. You know, one of my favorite quotes that's come from one of my mentors is have more vision than provision. And I think that's something that John has really delved into today, is making sure that we do have that vision. Knowing how we're going to do it isn't always the answer. Knowing what and having that vision to get there is what's going to get us there. So again, thank you so much, John. And yes, you've still got that link on the screen. There's a link in the chat and there's a link in the news feed in Eventi. Please do click on the link of the connection form and tick the box for John. John will connect, and do click on the link for his PDF. I can promise you that it's going to bring you brilliant value. So now it's come time to introduce our second last speaker. I can't believe that we're already here. However, it brings me great joy to present to you Toby Nagy. Toby is an entrepreneur, professional educator, startup strategist, and founder of the BCF Coaching Academy, which is an online education institute for entrepreneurs and business owners who want to launch their next big idea and learn a low-risk way, which is so important. Toby has been a serial entrepreneur for over 28 years, building businesses across many countries and industries in areas as diverse as renewable energy, commodities, fashion, food, and education. Over the last decade, He has been a university lecturer in Melbourne, developing and delivering courses in entrepreneurship and innovation. But since his retirement, he's retired to live in an idyllic lifestyle in Fiji Islands. Now, he just focuses on developing online courses and programs for entrepreneurs globally. And we're so grateful to be able to have that global reach. Toby is very passionate about education, innovation, and purpose-based entrepreneurship development, and helping entrepreneurs follow their dreams, passions, and lifelong goals of running their own enterprises. Please help me welcome to the stage, Toby Nagy. Woo! Go, Toby.
All right. Thanks, Anna, and thanks, John, for a lovely presentation. Now, I'm going to have a bit of an interesting presentation as well. So I want to talk about how to build your next big idea into a product or service that customers really want and love. All right. So let me just get this screen going. All right. Oops. Just mind my technology. All right. So what I want to talk about is entrepreneurship to begin with. Now, this is a phenomena that is currently sweeping the globe, and it's an amazing phenomena because it's open to everyone. So I just want to begin with the question. Now, true or false, 1 out of 3 US high school students want to start their own businesses. Now, just think for a moment if it's true or false. Well, the answer is it's false. In fact, it's 3 out of 4. And interestingly, 2 out of 3 prefer to be their own boss rather than work for someone else. So think back when you were at high school. What was it like then? The next question, true or false? In Australia, 51% of surveyed 18 to 30-year-olds are either planning on or wanting to start their own business. Well, again, it's false. It's actually 71%. Now, many of us have probably heard of the Great Resignation, and if you haven't listened closely, this is a phenomenon that's also potentially occurring. Now, in the US, the coronavirus pandemic has led to what's been dubbed the Great Resignation, with many people voluntarily leaving their employment. And the lockdowns that occurred have made people rethink their career or deeply question the role of work in their life. And has that applied to you? That's what I ask you at the moment. In fact, various surveys have shown that 48% of people over the next 12 months want to leave their job. And when we break the figures down a little bit further, we can see some better analysis on this. There's a seismic shift occurring and has already begun in the US and the UK. In fact, millions of people from frontline workers to senior executives are voluntarily calling their time on their jobs. And here's a quote by Aaron McEwen, who's a behavioral scientist. And he said, the movement of talent is so significant and so sharp that it's different to probably anything we've seen in living memory. Very interesting, isn't it? So then what's the reason? Well, the pandemic has reshaped society at a fundamental level and is shifting the balance of power from employers to employees. And people are now rethinking what work actually means. And many of the clients I've been speaking to, and in fact, many people I've been speaking to throughout my peers and my networks as well, they're all starting to rethink what work actually means to them or how they would vision themselves in the future working. And in a survey by Deloitte, 54% of employees value hybrid work as more important than a 5% pay rise. Now, in this study, 90% of people feel that their mental health has improved and 83% say their physical health has improved. Because what's happening is global trends occurring. And the first global trend that's occurring in entrepreneurship is people are moving from employment into entrepreneurship or starting their own businesses. The second interesting global trend that's occurring is people are now wanting multiple income streams. So we're seeing that occur in a lot of areas, including things like cryptocurrency, Forex trading. People are now moving to multi-level marketing, as well as starting their own side hustle or perhaps wanting to go into the gig economy. So it's a very interesting trend we're seeing. And over 50% of full-time workers in the UK and Singapore have a side hustle. Now, there's two things associated with this, right? Two reasons. The first could be the fact that living in the UK and Singapore is very expensive. So if you've got a full-time job, it's really hard to make a living. Or the second reason could be the fact that people just want to move into their own business over time. So they're starting a side hustle, they're building the side hustle, and then they're letting it grow until they can switch from a full-time work into their own business. Very interesting indeed. So the question is, why do people start their own businesses? Well, there are many reasons why people start businesses. I mean, these are just a list of 4, but there's probably another 20 reasons why people start businesses. But the first one is an opportunity exists. The second is they want to be their own boss. Third is they want more freedom and improved lifestyle. And fourth, which is linked to the third one, I guess, is they want to follow their passion and dreams. So where do you fit into this? Are you looking at becoming your own boss? Are you following an opportunity? Or are you just looking for more freedom and improved lifestyle? Or you just want to follow your passion and dreams and build something that's going to be amazing? Interestingly, in developing countries, for every person starting a business, there are 6 other people who also want to start a business. And those figures are probably very similar in the Western countries as well. I know many people wanting to start businesses. I know very few have started them, in fact, but it's probably even more than 6 people wanting to start a business. However, over 30,000 consumer products are launched annually in the USA, and 80% of them fail within the first year. And here's another quote by Nielsen. It says 85% of products fail within the first year of launch. Now the question is, why is that? Well, businesses are so focused on designing and manufacturing new products that they postpone the hard work of testing the market until it's too late. And the main reason for failure? Simple. People just didn't want the product. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Toby Nagy, and I'm an entrepreneur and educator, and I'm also founder of the BCF Coaching Academy. And what I do is I help people launch their next big idea. But I guess, where did I start in entrepreneurship? Well, I started in entrepreneurship over 28 years ago. And the way I started was quite interesting, because I graduated from university full of hope, thinking I'm going to get the job of my dreams, etc., etc. I was in the top 10% of the university, top 3 in the class. And what happened was we had this recession we had to have. That was Australia's last recession in 91, 92, when nobody was getting jobs. So what did I do? I actually started a business. I followed what was intuitive. And that intuitive for me was to follow what I love doing. And I started a fashion business. In fact, I started in t-shirt printing initially. And since then, I've been an entrepreneur. It's over 28 years now. So back in 2017, I decided to retire and go live an idyllic lifestyle in Fiji. I went off to start a solar business. I was also running courses in entrepreneurship over there for the locals. And here's just a bit about what I was doing. I was running courses in how to discover your purpose. And there's me on the worksite. And if you look closely enough, you can probably see me wearing the Fijian work safety boots.
Toby, get your slide up so that we can see you, mate.
Sorry, you can't see the slides?
No, but you've been fantastic. Keep going. But if you've got your slide show, if you want to put it in now because you're talking about one,
yep,
just pop it in, and it's not making any difference because you're powerful, mate.
Yep. So you're not seeing the slides?
No, we're seeing your lovely face, but
okay,
it's really good. But I thought now that you're referring to one,
there you go.
It might be better to see it. There you go. Thank you. Keep going.
Oh, all right. All right. Now, all right, so is that happening?
No, you just turned it off again. We had it.
Okay, let me just come back to this one.
We had it. And it was a good slide of you on the roof. And let's get back to it. Yep, keep going, mate. You can maximize it or just keep talking.
All right, now, so do you have an idea for a business and want to launch it successfully without having to potentially lose all your hard-earned savings? Well, I just want to share with you 2 myths about entrepreneurship. The first one is there's a myth you can do it all yourself. And this is the reality. And I'm sure many of you have come across this reality of heartache and headaches. The reality is successful entrepreneurs always receive guidance and need a team to succeed. Because this is what your plan looks like. Smooth sailing towards the rainbow. Then I'll show you a quote by Mike Tyson. And he says, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Because this is the reality of entrepreneurship. Through pitfalls, through mines, through thunderstorms. Doesn't always go as planned. Myth number 2. You have to fail many times before you can succeed. This is what most people think success is. It's either a road of winning or failing. But most successful people know this is what success looks like. It's a series of failures along the road to success. And believe it or not, the average time or the average number of fails entrepreneurs do have before they succeed is about 9 or 10. So if you had 1 or 2 failures whilst you're in your entrepreneurial journey, you've still got a long way to go. And most people do not realize that there is a process and methodology required for launching a business idea into a successful enterprise. You can do it the hard way, or you can do it the easy way. So then how do I help? Well, I work with entrepreneurs to identify major pitfalls of their new business idea by testing and validating their concept before launching. So they can actually develop products and services that customers really love and want. And as you can see here in the photo, this customer really loves her burger. It allows people to launch their idea quickly, effectively, and at low risk, saving time, money, and even heartache of business failure. And who can relate to that? I'm sure many of us can relate to this. So doing this properly allows people to take control of their lives and give themselves the freedom that they want to follow their dreams, their passions, and create a better work-life balance. So I've been able to develop a unique process that helps fix the problem with entrepreneurs' high failure rates. My solution? It's called the Startup Fundamentals Process. There's 4 simple steps involved. Step 1, you learn. So you discover what customers truly want. And this has 4 sub-steps in this step. The first one is to create a framework to assess ideas for business opportunities. The second part of this first step is you develop your business purpose and identify the major personal barriers to success. The third is you address your customer pains, needs, and wants. And fourth, you evaluate your opportunities and look at industry and competitors as well. Step 2, you build. So you create a product market fit for your product and service. And for those of you who don't know what a product market fit is, essentially creating a product that the market really wants. And the steps to this is you build your business model, you create your market dominant position. And this is a position that has a competitive advantage and is unique and valuable. Third, you build your prototype or your minimum viable product. And fourth, you create your lean startup. Step 3, test. So this is the customer validation process. So part of this, you develop a process for validating customers. You analyze their feedback from the customers and you modify and reiterate your solution. And then you keep retesting it until you find the optimum solution. And only then do you launch. So part of this process is we look at exploring financing for your venture. We develop marketing fundamentals. We create your sales process. And we also develop your personal roadmap for business growth. So when put together, my clients are able to end their hesitation and their self-doubt and their frustrations. To be able to test and validate their product or service ideas within 90 days. So the program I run is a 90-day program. And this is what we often see, their clients. So meet Isaac. He was a client of mine and he was working as a draftsman for other people and he was facing a really tough time getting ahead. And he did our program. So he went through all the steps and he was able to found his company and now is proudly doing design and construction work for leading clients throughout the Fiji Islands and living his passion and his dream. And here's a success story, another for us. And this is from Juice Fiji. Now, Juice Fiji is quite an interesting story because it was developed as, I guess, a cure for diabetes, not a cure for diabetes, but help people with diabetes or even prevent diabetes. It was a tonic with no preservatives, running from a range of different fruits and vegetables. Now, Panapasa, the owner, came to us and we helped him launch. That was back in June 2019. And as you can see the photo on the right-hand side, I'm standing there with Pana, the owner, and we're doing a trial testing at the local market. His product went on to become the most highly successful product that is in the supermarkets and consumer goods in Fiji in 2019. He went from selling 500 bottles a week in June to selling 10,000 bottles a week by December of that year. So it's an amazing success story, but it's also an amazing product. It's something we like to work with, and just amazing people and create amazing products and services and build amazing stories. And remember, time waits for no one. So seize the day, as I say, carpe diem in Latin. Now, I would like to set up 100% completely free one-on-one call where we can put together a complete blueprint for you. And I can show you how you can launch your next big idea. So begin to create the life you've always dreamed of with the work-life balance you're looking for. And here is my calendar link for those of you who want to connect with me on a one-on-one call, or perhaps you can send me an email, or even you can give me a phone call. And I just want to leave you with a quote here. And this is by Oliver Wendell Holmes. It was an American physician, writer, and poet, and a Renaissance man. What he said was, most of us go to our graves with our music still inside us, unplayed. And if you want to connect with me on social media, here are the links.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Toby. I love that this was started without slides. You've inspired me to do the same. 100% inspired me to do the same. So Toby is an absolutely amazing human being. He has bought and sold and built businesses for himself and for others. He knows what it takes to build and grow, and he is such a humble person, and I can assure you that he would take you on a journey that is going to help you succeed without so many failures. I don't think we can say there are no failures. However, we can help you succeed with the most direct way for you to be able to really launch your next big idea. And so if you are ready to do that, Toby has kindly offered a free 30-minute one-on-one session. There's links to it in the chat. There's links to it in the connection form. There's links to it on the Eventi app where you can look at the news feed. So thank you so much, Toby. And thank you so much to every single speaker that we have had so far. You guys have been inspiring, amazing, and really, really educational as well as motivational. So it's time for our very last speaker. And that very last speaker is me. So I'm going to take a little bit of your time to introduce myself. My name is Anna Osherov. I'm an event marketing expert, an eventologist, a speaker, facilitator, and consultant on how to master events for your brand and your business growth. See, since 2006, I've been working directly with business owners and organizations on their marketing and business development success. I'm the founder of the Eventologist training method and Flint, an online digital platform that helps you to create and repurpose content in a matter of minutes. My clients are visionary leaders, making a difference one successful event at a time. Now, since COVID, I closed a business event venue and took all of my event training online with a program aimed at teaching coaches, authors, business owners, speakers, and entrepreneurs to plan, promote, and present themselves online, really helping them to unlock new, highly profitable revenue streams in their business. I'm a communicator, a co-creator, and a vicarious achiever, which means that I'm always happier when I'm supporting the growth in others and when growth is gained as a team. If you were to ask my friends and co-workers what my strengths are, they would tell you that my positive energy is infectious and I'm always on the move, getting things done. It really is a pleasure to meet you. Now, today I will be sharing some insights into how to shine online and really how to build your niche industry influence, because I'm so passionate about the fact that we all have value to share with others. You see, everybody here has value. Every single person that has spoken with you today, who has shared their insights and ideas, and every one of you out there listening through our online channels or potentially viewing this in the future. And the fact that you have value to share is not a question. However, there is frustration. See, do we feel frustrated that people just aren't listening? We're taught over and over again that if we just keep our heads down and then work really, really hard, people will pay us attention. But what I found is if we want to make a difference, if we want to impact and influence our industries, then we need to get into the arena, stand up in front of our own crowd, and then make ourselves known. That is the power of marketing and live events. Now, we know that the world has changed. We've had change in climate change, geopolitical change, and currently the whole world is in turmoil and everybody's scrambling to get ahead of the game. Now, data has shown that we have vaulted 5 years forward in consumer and business digital adoption in a matter of around 8 weeks. I'm sure you all remember when we all got sent into our rooms to think about what we've done, and Zoom became a thing. Words like zoomed out were not a thing a few years ago. But the world is not going to go back. 5 years into the future in an industry is incredible, and that is not going to change. Now, that is both good news and it is bad news. You see, it's good news because we are more connected than ever before. And yet, there is information overload. People are going online to seek real connection. And yet, as I mentioned earlier, we're all zoomed out. It's now easier than ever to create content. If you've got one of these little things, you can create content in a matter of minutes. And yet, it's because of these same devices that our attention spans are very short. So what does this mean for you? As I said, you all have value to share. But are you tired? Are you tired of the hustle? Not enough time, not enough money, and not enough influence. Constantly out there trying to create that magic PDF, those landing pages, that social media marketing, the one-on-one meetings, trolling through social media for leads. Finding that you're just converting one person at a time and spending money on ads for just one product or service. And the saddest part, do we feel like we're constantly trying to prove our value? An amazing marketer said, his name is Seth Godin, the thing about being discovered is that it's incredibly rare because few people have the time and the energy to go hunting for something that might not be there. But the alternative is to be sought out. And the way that we become sought out is by influencing our niche industries, by getting in front of that crowd, standing up and making ourselves known. Because if we can build our digital influence, we can build our niche influence, we can increase our visibility tenfold, and we can increase our revenue exponentially. But how do we do that? You see, right now, we have a window of opportunity. If you look at Trend Hunter has done research into what happens during a crisis. So what we've seen happen is there's been a path of dependency up until 2020. You know, the trajectory of the world was very, very consistent. We knew where we're going. And then crisis hit. 2020, 2021, the world has been in crisis. And we are moving into chaos. So for the next 3 years, there is chaos. However, there is an advantage in chaos. If we can take the bull by the horns and in this time of chaos, create our own value, be able to share ourselves with our perfect marketplace, then we are going to be the people look to in the next years of recharging. And that is the future. And if you take responsibility for it, that's going to be your future. Well, what is influence, right? Most people think these days that influence is, you know, yes, look at this thing on Instagram. But the definition of influence, it's a noun, and it is the capacity to have an effect on the character development or behavior of someone or something, or on the effect itself. Another definition is it's a person or thing, that's you, with the capacity to influence, have influence on someone or something. Every single one of you has the opportunity to influence someone or something. We influence people all the time. We can walk down the street and smile at someone, and that is going to influence how their day pans out. And we need to step into that influence. The time has come. So today, I'm going to share with you exactly why social media, email marketing, and events are the perfect formula for niche industry influence. I'm going to show you how to create never-ending content that actually converts. And I'm going to show you the key to reducing the daily hustle and becoming sought out as an influencer in your industry. How does that sound? So, going back to our slides, because this is the part where we've got some really cool ideas. And also, if you have a pen and paper, I'd suggest you grab one, because there's going to be some really good nuggets of ideas that you can take on board. So let's delve back in to how to build your niche industry influence and how to shine online. So as I mentioned, our formula for this is social, email, and events. And those three things, if we implement social, email, and events effectively, it will lead to industry influence. Why? Let's look at the first part. Let's look at social. Social is an amazing place to do what? Build your audience. You see, there are 4.14 billion active social media users worldwide, and an average of 2 million are joining them every single day. And that was from the Social Media Perth in 2021. So that is current statistics. So it's a no-brainer to realize that social media is the best way to build your audience. However, getting brand recognition is well and good, but we need to own that data, because just being visible isn't going to lead people to our lead magnets, to our websites, to our products, our services, to that conversion factor. And at the end of the day, that's what we want, regardless of whether you've got a service, a product, or a message to share. We want to engage people who've seen us and own that data. Because as the world has shown us, we never know what's going to happen in the future. There was dependency, and now we don't know. So how do we own our data? Well, email, collecting people's details so they're safely in your database or your pocket, is going to help you lead the way. Because while social media gives you the reach, it doesn't give you ownership. And we must own the data of our audience, which means using the email address or having the email address to be able to communicate. And this can peter further through their email address, their contact details, where they live, and really understanding how to communicate both locally and globally. And then once we've got that data, we've got our brand awareness, we own the data, we know that we've got our customers there in the palm of our little hands, we need to be able to convert. We need to be able to build a know, like, and trust within our audience. And the best way to do that is through events, because events instantly showcase your influence. I'm sure that you have met every single speaker who spoke today, somewhere along the path, whether that's been through your socials, whether that might have been through your emails. You have an understanding of, roughly who they were and what they did. But what they've shared today has showcased their influence. It has helped you to connect with them and them to connect with you. But what is an event? See, most people think of an event as a dinner party or a webinar or an online summit. But the definition of an event is a specific space in time where something of importance takes place. And in this case, it is the planned gathering of people, like we've had a planned gathering of people right here, right now, whether that is in person or online. Because running your own planned events is the best way to connect with your followers And it is the part that gives you the edge to influence. But I promised you that I would give you some really handy tips so that you're not constantly stuck in the hustle. Because I'm sure you've all experienced that hustle, that's stuck in a mouse wheel. You're sort of running and running and running and running. At the end of the day, you're not really sure about where you are. You don't know your head from your tail, and you're just feeling exhausted. So today I'm going to give you some very quick tips on how you can create never-ending content and collect that data and build that know, like, and trust through the winning formula of social, email, and events. So if you don't have a pen in your hand, please grab one now. Here is what I call the content pyramid. This is a way for you to be able to streamline your workflow and save time. And this does not involve really fancy technology. This involves commitment from you and an understanding of a strategy to work with in order to be able to consistently create ongoing content. Now, we implement this in our business. And if you've seen any of my content online, you would have seen videos, you would have seen social media posts, you would have seen our blogs, our articles, etc. And I do this from the creation of one video. Now, from that one single video, if it is created effectively, we can transcribe that video and create a blog, take out the sound, create a podcast, and use that information in your newsletters. Now, there is a great formula to be able to create those videos to make them really easy to repurpose. And it's all around following the best practices in today's content, which is around lists and around how to documents. Now, a great way to be able to create the script for your video is to simply think of a good question to ask your ideal audience. Something like, are you struggling with creating never-ending content in your business? And then being able to give tips and ideas, anywhere between 3 to 7 tips and ideas on what that person can do in order to be able to solve that problem. Now, we put those tips and ideas into step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and then we pop that information on a Post-it note. We take that Post-it note, we stick it onto our phones, and then we use this same device to be able to record ourselves. And we record a lovely video where you talk to all the dot points. Now, once you have that video, you can take that video and you can transcribe that video. There are many platforms out there that do transcription. Some of those are platforms like Rev or Temi, or you can even go through YouTube and it will do the transcription for you. Once you've got the transcribed words, which you haven't had to write because you've spoken them, because you know your content, you can turn that into a blog article, a podcast, and a newsletter. And then you take all that same information and you set up templates in your in Canva, which is what I use. But if you use a graphic designer, or if you use Photoshop, whatever platform you use, I find Canva to be phenomenal. You set up templates and then you take that same information and you turn it into posts. Now, the most common used posts across social media are tactics posts, video posts, mistakes posts, blog posts, and quotes. So you can take that information and pop it into your tactics. You've already got the tactics, you've just listed them. You've already got the video because you've just recorded it. You do the reverse of what people should be doing, and that is your mistakes post. You put your content up in a blog and then you make a blog post. And then you find a really fancy quote, either from something that you've said or from somebody else who is an influencer within the industry that your audience is interested in, and pop a beautiful quote in. And then you schedule that information into your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, your YouTube, your Twitter, whatever social media platforms you are using. And this is going to help you to create ongoing content. So now we've got that engagement and brand awareness piece down. What happens next? Good question. This is how it can look. So this is what I said. I implement this in my own business. This is a video, social posts on LinkedIn, on Twitter, Instagram feed, our blogs, and our articles. And I can tell you that my time involvement in this is about 1 hour. My team's time involvement in this is maybe another hour. Now, how would you like to reduce your time in creating content to just 2 hours a week or 2 hours a month? Because there's nothing stopping you from having to post once a week rather than, and once a week rather than every single day. Now, the next step is to create conversion within your business. So whilst the top of your funnel, which is where your brand awareness piece sits, are those quotes, those blogs, those mistakes, that videos, etc., we need to lead people into the middle of the funnel, which is where our lead magnets come in. Now, those are the top 5 lead magnets today. How-to guides or product overviews. Now, you've already created a how-to guide because that was part of your video. Case studies, ebooks, video tutorials, or my favorite, webinars, which is what? An event, something that happens in a time and a place. Now, once you've created that lead magnet, you are now able to collect the information of your audience. Now, if you're running a webinar, you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone because A, you're getting the information about your audience. B, you're learning to, you've got the opportunity to connect and you're converting. And the great way to do that is then to automate your email marketing from your data collection point or your CRM, which is going to lead to that bottom of the funnel, money. So that is a very, very quick immersion into how you can build your digital influence and really shine online, because online is a place where you can reach the world. If you've enjoyed some of these little tips and ideas and tricks that I've just shared with you, I am running a webinar. Fancy that. Now, what attending this webinar will help you do is it will help you to embrace the new age of influence. It will help you to increase conversation, increase captivation, and increase conversion so that you don't have to hustle, so that you're not always running in the mouse wheel and getting yourself known, standing into your power in front of your audience, making yourself known. The webinar is called How to Build Your Digital Influence. And our next one is on the 14th of December. And again, just as with everybody else, the link to that webinar is inside your connection form. So how to build your digital influence, our top 3 secrets to shine online. So please, if that is of interest to you, make sure that you do grab the connection form, tick the box next to my name, and click the link in order for you to enroll into our next upcoming webinar on the 14th of December. I'm going to take my speaker hat off and I'm going to put my MC hat back on. Thank you, everybody. I can see you guys clapping. So this brings us to the last part of our Niche Industry Influencer Summit. I'd like to share some reminders with you guys. Number 1, please click on that connection form. There's a link in the chat here in Zoom. For those of you who are in Eventi, and there are quite a few of you following us in Eventi, I'm going to do another quick little overview of how to find that form inside of Eventi. So if you are joining us inside Eventi, which would look like this, what you need to do is you need to head over to this part here and you'll see a news feed. Here there's going to be something that says the Summit Connection Form. Please make sure that you click on the link either here or here. Either one of those 2 links is going to lead you to the connection form, and then open up the form. Our form looks like this. So inside of here, I've been encouraging you all to tick the boxes. So I'm going to do a quick summary. If you've enjoyed Margie's talk, Margie shared with us at the very start of the summit, let go, hold on, and rise up. Margie has a brilliant book and it's only $25. So if you'd like Margie's book, please tick the box that says yes for Margie's book. And then also connect with Margie and let her know how many books you'd like. Something like 10, because they make really good Christmas presents. Next, we had Sarah Hudson. Sarah Hudson talked all about money. Sarah is incredible and she empowers women to be able to get a hold of their finances. If you think that this will be valuable for you or for somebody you know, please do tick the box, yes, I would like to book a discovery session. And you can click on the Calendly link here and book directly in with Sarah. Next, we had Alison Marie. Alison Marie talked about unlocking mindset and productivity for women in the workplace. She shared the soul modes, understanding that inside every woman, there are 4 extraordinary women, not just one ordinary one. If you'd like to learn more from Alison Marie, again, please do tick the box here. Then we had a quick break. Our 4th speaker was Gerald Richards, not Richard Gerald, Gerald Richards. Now, Gerald spoke about the perfect sale, how to use your social skills for sales. Now, Gerald is running a webinar. And again, you've got an Eventbrite link there and you can tick the box for Gerald. Judith Field was our next speaker. Judith talked about how to be a brilliant speaker in 7 steps. Now, if you tuned into Judith, which I hope you all have, you will know that she has so much knowledge and experience in this space. So please tick the box, connect with Judith, and we will share with you her program, which she has a brilliant special on. Then we had Tracy Spate. Tracy Spate talked about everybody having creativity. Now, I don't know if you've ever listened to Brene Brown, but Brene Brown says that we all have creativity scars. Somewhere along the line, when we were young, someone told us that we're not good at being creative. I clearly remember when my mother told me that I wasn't doing a good job of coloring within the lines. That stays with me to this day. I would have been 4 years old. And to this day, every time I try and color in, I think about, am I in the lines or am I not in the lines? At the end of the day, that's not the point. The point is that all of us have creativity and we can use that creativity in order to find calmness within our day-to-day life. Then we had a change of pace. We had John C.H. Perry. He is a CEO and a poet. John really helps us understand if we are ready for funding, not from the perspective of our product, but from the perspective of self. Are you ready for funding? Because we know that people invest in people. So please download his PDF. There's a link here. Tick yes in the box and see if you can reset your strengths. Our next speaker was Toby. Toby did an amazing job and I felt inspired to also not share my slides because Toby, it was such an amazing thing to watch you speak, brought so much more connection. And so Toby talked about how to build your next big idea, helping you with a really simple process to reduce the amount of potential failures. So Toby has kindly offered a 100% free 30-minute one-on-one call. So if you'd like a call with Toby, again, please click yes in the box and you can head to his calendar link. And our final speaker, Anna Osherov, talked about becoming a niche industry influencer. Anna is running a free masterclass on how to build your digital influence, our top 3 secrets to shine online. So if you would like to attend the masterclass or connect, please do tick the box. Now, we do ask a few other questions. We really want some feedback on this. We'd love your insights. So I'd love to know what you think went well and potentially what might not have gone well, because we really do appreciate feedback. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. Without it, we're not going to grow. So please do give us some feedback. And finally, we love collecting testimonials. So if you've got any comments or recommendations for people attending these events that we could use as a testimonial, please pop your answer into this box here. That is our crash course into how to use forms for those that haven't done this before. So again, I want to thank you all. I want to thank all of our speakers. They have been absolutely phenomenal. I am so inspired and moved and motivated by every single person who shared their insights here today. All of these people have recently completed the Niche Industry Influencer Program, and I can tell you that their growth has been incredible. Each and every single one of them has stood up here in front of you today and were able to articulate, to share their value, to inspire, to connect, to teach, and to motivate. So if that is something that's of interest to you and you'd like to be on the next Niche Industry Influencer Summit, come along to our webinar and then join the Niche Industry Influencer Program. Thank you all so much. Have an absolutely fabulous rest of your day. Thank you all for being here, for staying to the end. And I hope to see you all sometime in the near future. Let's have a quick boogie. Actually, I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to take a selfie. Those guys, if you feel comfortable, please turn on your cameras. And I'm going to do a very quick selfie and play us some music as you guys are all jumping off.
While everyone is doing that, on behalf of the 10 of us who have just completed the 8-week course, I know I'm speaking for everybody. Your input, your devotion, your problem solving, your enthusiasm, your willingness to answer every question and help with every little hiccup that we had is second to none. And I think that it's a credit to you that there would be have been all 10 of us, but 2 people had some hiccup and couldn't be here. And one of us even had something today that didn't stop her. So would I be correct in assuming 3 cheers and big clap for our wonderful seminar leader, Anna Osherov? Yay!
And thank you for your process too, Anna. It's really good. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart. All right, let's do a very quick selfie. Digital selfie. Yay! Woo! And a quick screen photo. There we go. Fabulous. Let's have a really fun tune as you guys turn on our speaker and let's have some music, because music is what? Really fun to dance to.
Louder.
would you perhaps we should all sing, Anna? Oh, here we go.
It's a bit of patter.
Yeah, come on, Toby, do some Fijian stuff. There he goes.
I found the reason I'm not giving it up. I felt the fever.